Well, happy Friday, everyone. You know what that means? Another live lawn care Q&A. My name is Ron Henry, and I am here to help answer your lawn care questions. If this is the first time you're gracing us with your presence, welcome. Super happy to have you here. The way this works is really simple. On your screen, you will see a chat box. In that chat box, you enter your question, concern, comment of the day, and I work through them in the order that they come in. Sometimes I have the answer, sometimes I do not, but either way, we have an awesome time talking about lawn care. Guys, gals, we have, a little over a month left, depending on how you calculate it, left in summer. You got to enjoy it. Enjoy it while it lasts. The lawn's going to be going dormant soon. As always, when it comes to the live stream, we are coming to you guys on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. So those of you that are on the gram, feel free to be part of the conversation too. You're not going to be able to see anything that I share on the screen, or if anyone has a comment, you're not going to see that. So either come over to YouTube so you can see all that content, or feel free just to participate here, and you'll just have to just assume you can understand what I'm talking about. So let's see what we have in the live stream tonight, guys. We got some great questions I saw ahead of the show. Before we even get going, I know that that OKC 405 is the show sponsor. He started out this evening with a question that you guys aren't going to be able to see. We had a question around scalping his lawn. So this time of year, right? He went out and he mowed a little bit short. And his question was, did I mess up my lawn by scalping it pretty much in mid-August? He is in Oklahoma. He's in Oklahoma City. And I told him, no, for the most part, you should be fine. I mean, I wouldn't make a habit out of doing that. There still should be plenty of growing season left for the lawn to recover from it. And yeah, I mean, it's a bit late in the season, later in the season than I would have done it. But it's, you still got time for it to bounce back, as long as you're not getting out there and making a habit of doing that every single weekend. All right, so we have other folks here in the live stream tonight. We got Simple Man is up next. Our next question, he says, "What's up, Ron? I started a late seeding project on purpose." Okay, all right, do you? Trying Monaco Bermuda this time, killed off my Ardent 15 because I had some common Bermuda invading my yard somehow, seeded on 8-4. There's more to the question. Getting a lot of what looks like crabgrass and nutsedge. Any suggestions on what I can use in another week or two for weed control? Yeah, so for sedges, what I would go with is certainty. You know, as far as a selective herbicide that you can use on Bermuda that has very little chance of injuring the grass if you stick to label rates, it's really going to be tough to beat certainty. So this is what I would use for sedges. Now, when it comes to crabgrass, the best herbicide, in my opinion, for crabgrass is a herbicide called quinclorac. But you have to be very careful about using it when temps are at 85 degrees or higher. If you're willing to potentially do more than one application, you can use Celsius. Celsius will control crabgrass, but it's not as good as quinclorac. So if you go with Celsius, you may have to do more than one application to control it. Depending on how much you're dealing with, Simple Man, you may just pull it out. You know what I mean? Crabgrass, you might be able to just pull that to control it. Sedges, you know, pulling them isn't really an effective way to control sedges. You have to go after them with certainty. I would pair a little bit of spreader sticker, a little bit of surfactant with it. This combination will get it done. And that is how I would control them. So definitely certainty and surfactant for the sedges. And for the crabgrass, your choices are either to pull it. That's the safest option. Celsius with surfactant would be my next choice. And then if temperatures where you aren't too hot right now and you want to give quinclorac a shot, you can go that route. So it just depends on where you are, your comfort level, your tolerance for potential injury, that kind of thing. As far as where you can get those, I'll show you really quick. So if you go to the golf course lawn store, you go to shop, and then you go to weed killer, you'll be able to find Celsius, certainty, and the surfactant here. So you've got Celsius here, you've got certainty, and you've got surfactant. In the case that you have, you know, a small amount of sedges, so it's not a ton, you know, you got these individual use packages, which are money. These are really easy to use, you know, from a standpoint of Celsius. And then if you, for your sedges, this time of year, you should get pretty good control if you do between 3 to 5 of the small scoops with 2 gallons of water and a little bit of surfactant. That should put you in a good spot. So what I'm talking about here, when you get certainty, it comes with a measuring spoon, which you can see here. There are 2 ends. There is the large end. We're not going to do this. There is a small end. This is going to be your jam right now. All right. So you're going to use 3 to 5 of these, the small ones, with 2 gallons of water, and that's going to provide really good controls over sedges. Really, for the large scoop, I never really break that out unless I'm spraying POA in the springtime. So, you know, for the most part, for sedges, especially when it's hot out like it is now, it really doesn't take very much certainty to get great control. And what you'll find this time of year, 7 to 10 days after you spray it, you'll begin to see them yellow, and then it'll really accelerate, and they'll die off a lot faster. So just be patient. You know, it's this combination is a set of herbicides that will kill weeds without killing your grass. So the negative to that, if you want to call it a negative, is they do take a little while to ramp up. But as far as a set of herbicides that you can use at higher temperatures with far less chance of injuring your new Monaco lawn, then Celsius and certainty are what I would say to go with. So hope that helps. Congrats on the new lawn. Kind of, you know, sad to hear that you got rid of the Ardent 15, but I get it. You know, this thing with grass, you can always change. You can always go to something else if you want. And once the Monaco gets established, you're happy with the way it looks and you want to share it, send pictures, and we'll show them on the channel if you are okay with that. My email address is ron@golfcourselawn.com. So send the pictures there if you want, and we shall go from there. Great stuff. Next up, we have Devin. Devin's in the house. He says, "Hey, Ron, should be an awesome night of turf talk. I will do my best. He says, "We'll have to plan to get me back on soon. Lots of exciting things to share about the install of the new lawn and landscaping in the coming weeks." Very, very nice. So for any of you guys that are new to the live stream or new to the channel, Demare91 is Devin. He is a greenskeeper out in Colorado Springs. So he makes his living making sure that turf grass looks awesome at the his golf course. It's the club at Flying Horse, I believe, is where he works. And every now and then we can convince him to come on the stream and grace us with all his knowledge and presence, and answers tons of cool season questions, and just is a great time hanging out. He's been building a house, and he was one of the winners of the stripe contest that we had a couple months back. So he's got a new lawn. He's going to be real mowing it, so it'll be cool to get him on the show. and just find out how things are going with him. Yeah, man. So definitely, once your schedule permits, let me know. We'll plan it. We'll get it done. You know, it's always a good time having you on the live stream. So looking forward to making that happen. All right, next up we got Mr. Robert Rainey. He says, baked potatoes are on. The grill is on fire. We are now ready for the stream. Very, very nice, Robert. Very cool. Yeah, man. I know Rainey's grill is always cooking up something good. The pictures you share sometimes in the Facebook group are always nice. So yeah, good to hear that you and the missus are kicking back, watching some Turf Talk, and cooking something tasty. I'm sure you are, like always. All right, next up is Mr. Papa Mo's Low. He says, hello, Ron. I found a caterpillar on my porch. iPhone identified it as an armyworm. I sprayed Acetyloprin SC in the spring. Should I apply it again? No issues in the lawn yet. Sent a pic earlier today. So he did send the picture. I had him send it again. And this, it's not a great picture, but this is a picture of what he had. The lighting wasn't great, but you can kind of see what he was working with there. That definitely looks like some kind of turf caterpillar. Yeah, very well could be an armyworm. So what you can do, Papa Mo's Law, I'll tell you this. When it comes to Acetyloprin SC, which is my insecticide of choice, I typically spray it once per year. However, I am in the minority in that regard. There are most people that use this, they will use it twice a year. They'll use it once in the spring and then again in like late July, early August for the express purpose of what you're dealing with for controlling armyworms. I get great control with doing one application and in late March, early April. That works well for me. If you want to do another application, it's not going to hurt anything. You know, if you've got it, I would put it down. Better to be safe than sorry, because if you do have a problem with armyworms where they take root in your lawn, they can destroy a lawn very quickly. So I really wouldn't chance it. If you found one where there's one, there's probably more than one. So I just, it's not worth it, not worth the risk. You're not going to hurt anything by applying it. Again, I am very much in the minority in the sense that I only apply it typically Acetyloprin once per year in the springtime. Most people that do it twice per year. Again, once in the spring and then again in July, August timeframe. So feel free to do that. As far as the rate that that I would go with, so the good catch-all rate, a good catch-all rate for Acetyloprin SC is 0.2 ounces over 1,000 square feet. For armyworms, it's funny, if all you care about is armyworms, the rate is actually quite a bit lower than that. It's something like 0.05 to it's just under this, just under 0.10 if all you care about is armyworms. What I would do if you're going to go through the trouble of applying is I would just stick to applying this rate again, the 0.2 rate. If you did 0.2 in the spring and again now in the fall, you're still well under the annual limit for Acetyloprin. And that way, you know, you've got good coverage in case there's anything else in the lawn, and it's going to be more than enough. You know, the concentration level is going to be more than enough to take care of armyworms. So yeah, if it were me, I would do it, since you've seen evidence of it. Just not worth risking it. I just really wouldn't risk it if I were you. All right, cool. So next up we have let's see, we have Oliver Ridham in the house. Oliver is in the house. What's going on, Oliver? I got some pictures from you. I'll show them off here in a little bit. He says, happy Friday, everyone. Temps still 107 degrees in the state of Texas. Going to mow in about an hour when it drops to 100. Pray for me, LOL. Yeah, man. I feel sorry for you guys, man. I guess it's not the Midwest. I guess it's South Central is what Texas would be considered, right? South Central United States. You guys are taking a beating this time of year. So Oliver sent some pictures of his lawn earlier for me to show on the live stream. He has some questions around Nutrizov and applying that and mowing and that type of thing. But, you know, here's the thing, and we have to qualify this, because I know some of you guys that are super picky, like if I show this and Robert looks at it, he's going to be like, oh man, the color's not, you know, it doesn't meet like Rainy standards. However, he's in the South Central United States. They got watering restrictions. It's been super hot. And I think all things considered, the lawn looks pretty good. So this is a picture he sent from earlier. You know, color looks good. Overall, it's fairly even. You know, given, 100-degree temperatures, I would not hate that at all. Lawn looks really nice. He did a little bit of spot sanding work there in the front of the frame. So if you see that there at about 7, 8 o'clock, that is not like scalping or burnt or anything like that. That's just some spot top dressing he did. Because here's what you find out, guys. If you ever top dress your lawn, this whole thing of like one and done is not really a thing for top dressing. Like once you do it, you always think, you know what, if I just put a little more sand there, it'll get that much better. So that's what this picture is, a little bit of, showing off a little bit of spot top dressing. And then next he shows a little close-up action, looking good, looking really clean. Cannot complain with that at all. And finally, another picture close up. I got to hand it to you, man. I mean, given what you're dealing with, right? 107 degrees cooling down to 100 degrees when you mow, I would take that. I would absolutely take that. I mean, that looks solid. You know, very nice work. Keep it up. Go out and enjoy your mow, because that's 100-degree temperatures is no joke. I mean, all the lawns this time of year, and it's a funny thing. I get pictures from folks and they say, hey, my lawn is not holding on to color as well as it did like in May, June. I'm like, well, yeah, I mean, it's hotter unless you're increasing the amount of water you're putting on the lawn. And, you're also picking up your mowing frequency, because I've been getting, a rash of emails from folks saying, I mow and I'm still mowing the same way I did like in May and June. But now when I mow a day or two later, I'm getting some brown spots on the lawn. I'm like, yeah, so your choices are one of two things. If that's you that I'm talking to, if you email me, or if that comment resembles what you're dealing with in your lawn, you have really two options. Option one is to increase your mowing. So adding one additional day during the week, that will allow you to take off less leaf and allow you to maintain color, given that the aggressive or the increased growth rate that comes with higher temperatures. Or option two is to raise your height of cut, right? So you have two things you can do. Or actually it's just three options. One, you can mow more, which is the thing that I would do. Two, you can raise your height of cut. Or three, you can realize that it's completely normal and just live with it and just say, hey, you know what? I can't mow anymore. I'm mowing as much as I want or care to. And if I get a little bit of discoloration, a little bit here and there, that's just par for the course. So be it. And just realize that, in another few weeks here, when the hottest part of summer really falls off, you're gonna be good to go again. So you got really three options. So one or three are what I would opt for. So good stuff. Enjoy your mow, Oliver. If you need anything else, let me know. We got, let's see, J Doc here on the gram. Bruner20, Jimmy is here. Cool. So the usual crowd and some new faces on Instagram. Thanks for coming to hang out. Appreciate you guys. Next up is Jackie Bear. He says, Dallas Fort Worth, hot. Yeah, everywhere in Texas is hot. I mean, in Georgia, it was, what do we have today? 88 degrees. So for you guys, a very cool 88 degrees here in Georgia was the high. I'm sure you guys would love to have that, right? This time of year, based on what you guys are dealing with. Next up is Colin Potter. He says, happy Friday, Ron. Thank you so much, Colin. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for coming to hang out in the live stream. And then the lurker, Jackie, he says, Brother Ron, have an excellent stream, sir. I may not be lurking tonight. I holler. Thanks so much, Jackie. I appreciate you. We got Jackie Bear again saying it's Friday. Madam's in the house waving and saying hello. And then next up, we have Tom Richter. Tom Richter, also from the state of Texas, also suffering from the high temperatures that we're facing this time of year. So he's saying, have not mowed for 3 weeks. Even with water, my lawn is rip. It's not, okay, listen, it's not dead. It may not look its best. It might be struggling. I mean, you're falling on hard times, but it's not dead. It's not gone. It's 108 degrees yesterday, south of Austin, Texas. You're not the only one. I mean, someone that I work with, he was saying that, I was completely excited. May, he was awesome. He's really happy with how the lawn was doing. June was really good. And then July got really hot. And then, he was telling me, hey man, I'm just throwing in the towel. I'm done. I can't do it. Like, we got watering restrictions. We can't, I can't water as much. I can't sit up there with a hose and hand water it. So I'm just done until like late August, and then I'll pick it back up again. I'm like, yeah, I mean, it'll bounce back. It's Bermuda. It's really hard to kill it even when you want to. So yeah, that's definitely a strategy. Or you can take the Oliver approach and realize, hey, it's not going to be as green as it was in May, but it can still look pretty good. And I would take that. It's a great looking stand of turf, man, especially dealing with the conditions that you are experiencing. So keep it up. All right, next up is Devin. He's up next. He says, absolutely. I've been and will be taking 1 million pictures and videos to document it, irrigation install, soil profile prep for low-cut turf, and a ton more fun stuff. Can't wait to share. Awesome, man. Let me know. We'll make it happen. It'll be great to have you on and hear how you are setting up the lawn to win again, to dominate again whenever we do the next the stripe action contest. So yeah, it'd be cool to hear how you go about doing it. Nice stuff. All right, next up is KT Patriots. It's a great question. He says, when do you stop your PGR apps? So KT Patriots, really, September is when I start gauging on whether or not I'm going to start slowing down on growth regulator. So again, the growth regulator that I use, you guys have watched the stream, you know what it is. It's going to be Primo Max. I will likely apply again here in a couple of weeks, the end of August, early September, and just gauge it, see how the lawn looks. I might do another application mid-September before I shut it down. It really depends on the weather, on the temperature. If the lawn's still growing really aggressively, still looking good, I'll just continue to use Primo on it. And if not, if it's starting to cool off, then there's not really a need for it anymore, and I will wean it off that good stuff. And as far as growth regulator, you know what my position is. I start in late April, early May, and I use it all the way through at least till the beginning of September, and I've gotten really good results with that. As far as the application interval, I spray every 2 weeks, so twice a month. So you first and the 15th, whenever you're spraying your carbon kit or your liquid fertilizer of choice, you can put a little bit of Primo in the tank and get it all done at the same time. Again, I've had really, really good results with that. As a matter of fact, if you guys want to see a recent video of the lawn from, not today, it was from 2 days ago. This is how she's looking right now. You know what I mean? Not bad. I mean, the color isn't quite as vibrant as, say, June timeframe, which I think was when the lawn looks its absolute best. But still, for August, this summer temperatures that we're having, I'll take it. Not bad. You know what I mean? It's not bad at all. And again, I am not running a ton of irrigation. We've been getting fairly a decent amount of water here in Georgia. And again, don't send me hate mail, folks in Oklahoma and Texas. The short I did with it raining outside was just a joke. It's just jokes, man. Don't get mad at me because I sent you guys a picture of rainfall. But yeah, I haven't been running any extra irrigation cycles, and the lawn's been maintaining its color pretty well. So I'm very happy with that. So next up we have Stephen Thomas, I'm sorry, is in the house. He says, "Hey Ron, should I shoot an email on the 10th? I'll send again now just in case. Looking forward to pre-ordering the Revolution. Can't wait until next year." Yeah, so this whole thing with the, if you guys don't know what he's talking about, so Lee Purcell from Real Rollers came on the live stream last week for the first hour and a half to talk about the new mower that they are releasing. It's called the Revolution 26. It's 26-inch with mower. It is it's a pretty sweet bit of kit. I've gotten to mow with it a few times. I've gotten to give a few inputs as far as small inputs as far as things that that I would do differently, or things that small adjustments here and there. And I think it's going to be really well received. It's a great mower, very solidly built, cuts well. He's got a really nice grooved roller for it. I mean, that grooved roller is very, very heavy, and it really helps the mower settle down and ride nice on the turf. Produces a great cut. So I think you guys that are signing up to get one of the Revolutions are going to really like that mower. So very, very good. Very good bit of kit. So yeah, so and any questions you guys have, ask him. So here's the thing. I posted that video, Steven. I took the section of the live stream where Lee was announcing it, cut that out, and made a separate video over it. And you guys have tons of questions in there. What's the blade count going to be? What's height to cut range? Height to cut range, I can tell you that. It's going to be 1/8 of an inch up to 1.25 inches. But as far as the final blade count, as far as some of the other questions you guys have, that's best directed at Real Rollers, because I don't know what they want to share and what they don't want to share, or what's still going to be adjusted, or what's still open to change. And so your best bet is to ask them, email or call. So if you guys see I haven't been answering as many of the questions on that particular video, it's not because I'm ignoring you guys, just because I really want you guys to talk to Real Rollers about it. It's their baby, it's their mower. It is a pretty sweet bit of kit, and I think that again, any of you guys that get one are going to really enjoy it. It's a nice mower. All right, we got Offered NV here in the house on the gram saying, "Hey Ron, happy Friday. What's going on? Hopefully you're doing well." We got Paisley. What's going on, Paisley? Hopefully you guys are all doing well. If your lawns are looking their absolute best. And then next up we have Will Larkin. He says, "I noticed Insecticide Weed Stop Concentrate mentions not applying it to Bermuda grass when temps are above 90 degrees. But my new bag of Insecticide Weed Stop granules did not mention temperature." Yeah, so if you're talking about the liquid, I don't think it's 90. It might be 85 degrees, but maybe it's 90. I thought it was 85. But the liquid, yes, it does have a temperature restriction of I believe it's 85 or less, but maybe it's 90 or less. And the reason for that is to prevent potential injury, potential discoloration to the lawn. So yeah, you really want to heed that, again, unless you're willing to tolerate some injury to your turf grass. As far as the granule, I'm not sure why the granule doesn't have one. Outside of that, really, you apply that differently than you do the liquid. So for the blue bag of weed stop, if you're using that as a pre-emergent, you would apply it, water it in, and then you're done. You're good to go, right? If you're using it as a post-emergent herbicide, you really need to apply it to a lawn that is wet. Reason being, given that it's a granule, it's a very fine granule, it needs to get on and stick to the leaf of the weeds that you're trying to target in order for it to work. So your options are water the lawn, then apply it, or what I like to do, again, it's probably been 4 or 5 years since I've used that product, is to do it in the morning. So when there's dew on the lawn, there's natural moisture on the lawn, get out there and apply it then. That's going to allow it to stick to the leaf of the weeds you're targeting, allow it to dry, and then you'll, 10 days, 14 days later, you'll start seeing some discoloration as it begins to kill the weed that you're targeting. So I'm not sure why there's not a temperature restriction for it versus the granule. I've had good results with both. The liquid obviously works a bit faster, but the granular can work well too, as long as you apply it to a lawn that is damp. That's really important. You look at some of the reviews for that product, and people will be really up in arms saying, "Oh, I applied it and didn't do anything for the weeds, didn't kill any of the weeds." And a lot of times it's because they're not applying it properly. It really has to be placed on a wet lawn, on a damp lawn, for it to work correctly. So yeah, Will. If there's no temperature restrictions on the label, then I really wouldn't worry about it. I mean, obviously use common sense. If you could find a stretch of weather where it's not, where the peak of the day, the peak temperatures of the day are going to be milder in that 7-day period or whatever you're looking at, yeah, wait till then. It's always a good thing to do that if you can. The thing with herbicides is they tend to work faster or as temperatures go up. But then once you get above 85 degrees for a lot of herbicides, you start going from it working faster to kill the weeds to, even though it's labeled safe for your particular grass type, you're going to start getting some discoloration and some potential injury. Celsius and Certainty do not, again, if you apply them at the proper rates, do not really do that. So, whenever you guys look at that video that you'll find in the description for either of these on the Golf Course Lawn Store, it was in, I think it was like 96, 97 degrees on the day that I chose to spray the lawn when I made that video. And I didn't get any discoloration or any injury to my lawn. And I use surfactant with it. So if anything that's going to cause this combination to produce some temporary discoloration, it will boil down to how much surfactant you use. I've gotten one email this year from someone that used the combination, and they had some discoloration on the lawn, and they literally opened up the email saying, "Hey, I went a little heavy-handed with the surfactant." And that, if you overdo it with this, it doesn't take very much. If you overdo it with surfactant, you are increasing the likelihood that you can get some injury in the lawn. Again, it's going to be temporary, but if this combination, if sprayed at the label rates with a little bit of surfactant, doesn't take very much. A couple teaspoons is all it really takes. Then per gallon over 1,000 square feet, it does a great job. So yeah, hope that helps, Will. If there's no label restrictions, just make sure you wait for, or you apply it to a damp lawn for best results. And then next up is Will Larkin. He says, "Is there any real danger of applying herbicides above 90 degrees?" Yeah, there is, in the sense that you're increasing the likelihood that you will cause injury to your turf grass. So if you look at a product like Celsius or Certainty, which are warm season herbicides, which are safe for warm season grass, even though they're safe, they still introduce some stress to the grass. Now, you may not see that, but they still do. As temperatures go up, the likelihood that stress is going to be manifested in some invisible injury, it becomes much higher. So you really do want to stick to the recommendations of, staying at 90 degrees or cooler. Most herbicides, it's 85 degrees or cooler, unless you're willing to tolerate some injury to your lawn. You know what I mean? So yes, is there danger? Yes, there's danger of injury if you apply the herbicide outside of the recommended temperature range. The higher above the range you go, the more chances you have of injury to the lawn. So I would stick to what the label says, unless you're willing to tolerate a damaged lawn. So hope that helps, Will. Great question. It's a question that I've been getting quite a bit this time of year when it comes to people trying to control weeds in their lawn, and it's a big part of why these two are the ones that I speak about so much when it comes to worm season grass, because I can sleep better at night knowing that I recommended something to someone that, as long as they stick to the label rates over a fairly large temperature range, you're not going to have a bad result in your lawn as long as you spray it properly. Now, I've never heard of anyone spraying this stuff at like 120 degrees, but there's people that have used it, 110, and they've not reported any kind of injury that to speak of in their lawn. So yes, well, I would stick to the rates unless you're willing to have an ouchie in your lawn, which is not fun. All right, so next up, we have Madam. She's up next, or he's up next. It says, I am always at work listening here. I look forward to Friday evenings learning about lawn care. Thanks, Ron. You are very, very welcome. Thank you for listening in. I really do appreciate it. There are other things you could be doing on Friday nights. If you can listen to the live stream on YouTube, you could watch other stuff on YouTube, but you're choosing to hang out with us lawn care nerds to talk about lawns and see what everybody has been dealing with. So guys, I got another picture for you guys. So you guys remember Robert, who was up earlier, was talking about him throwing some stuff on the grill. And if you remember from a couple live streams ago, it's probably more than a couple, maybe a month or so ago, he was a good lawn care person and took on the monumental responsibility of helping his family member out with their zoysia lawn to try and improve it. So he sent me some pictures here, and I got to tell you, man, Robert, you know what? If whatever you do for work doesn't work out, you would absolutely have a career in turf grass, man. This is looking clean. I don't care who you are. Even if you don't like, if you like zoysia, you gotta respect that. And here's the thing, that is not real mowed. So a lot of you guys, you guys always say, all you ever talk about is real mowing, this, real mowing that. And yes, I still think real mowing is awesome. And if you have the time to do it, and it's the correct grass type, it is the best way to produce an amazing looking lawn. That said, look at zoysia that is mowed with a rotary. That looks clean. I think most people would take that. And he sent me another picture here showing off the vanity strip. And again, I use vanity strip in quotes because that's a really big vanity strip. But even that is looking really good, man. Overall, awesome work. The nutrient program that you've been using on the lawn has been working well. The mowing has been on point. And just keep going. Lawn looks amazing, man. Great work. I really do appreciate all the all the feedback and just keeping me posted as far as how the projects are developing. All right, next up we have Lydia Savina. Says, my husband, and it's the first time tuning in live. Awesome. Thanks for coming to hang out. Appreciate you. We have our lemonade ready. Hey guys, so here's the thing. Yeah, talk about lemonade. I'm living up today. It's Friday. It's Friday. For some people, it's payday. So, I got some Chick-fil-A lemonade. I'm halfway here on the Chick-fil-A, and I've got some Milo's Arnold Palmer. So I am blending lemonades, but most of it is Chick-fil-A lemonades. I went premium tonight, just feeling like it. Feel like just doing something a little special, and some Milo's. So it's a spiked Arnold Palmer. We'll call it that. And it is quite tasty. I will tell you, man. And again, I'm not like sponsored by Chick-fil-A or anything. They have no idea who I am. But I would argue that no one does lemonade quite like them. As far as fast food goes, they make a really good lemonade. Now the chicken sandwich, I'm not going to get into that. I think there are some chicken sandwiches that are better. I know I'm in the South. Do not send me hate mail. I'm not trying to bash talk the Lord's chicken sandwich. But as far as lemonade, they got that locked up. I don't think anyone else does a better lemonade than Chick-fil-A in the fast food arena anyway, in my opinion. All right, so you got your lemonade on point. We couldn't be more excited and love watching all your videos and working the lawn together. We are so excited. That's awesome. Well, that's awesome, Lydia. Glad you guys are hanging out and that the live stream is entertaining and you guys get to work in the lawn together. It's really cool. I really do appreciate it. Thank you for coming to spend some time on a Friday night. If there's anything I can help with or any questions you have, feel free to drop them in the chat, and I will do my best to answer them. All right, Offered Envy says, that turf looks spectacular. Great job, Robert. Yeah, he is good, man. I'm telling you, the student has become the master. He's on point when it comes to his lawn game. All right, next up is James Serio. He says, how many scoops of Celsius? So with Celsius, James, a great question. So whereas Certainty has a measuring spoon, so a big end and a small end, Celsius comes with a measuring cup because it comes with a measuring cup. What can I tell you? And as far as the rates go, it depends. It depends, right? So there's two rates that I use for Celsius. There's the 0.226 rate, which is the high rate for 2 gallons of water. And then there's the 0.45 rate, which is what I use for 4 gallons of water. So if I can make this happen, let me see if I can get this to focus. So if you look here on the cup very carefully, yeah, maybe not. You have to watch my video. But there are markings on the cup. There are markings on the cup, all right? And this one right here on the right side, so the 1, 2, 3, the third marking on the right-hand side, right there, that is like the rate that I use for 4 gallons of water. And then the 0.226 rate, which is on the left side, is the first designation on the left side of the cup, which is right. Again, you guys aren't gonna be able to read this. You're gonna have to you have to watch the video because I actually shot it on the video. But right there is the rate for 2 gallons of water. Or if you get one of these packets, this is 0.226 ounces of Celsius. So if you have you can take one of these packets, throw one of these in 2 gallons of water. That will be the high rate. That's the rate that I typically use with Celsius. And then if you're if you're spraying a weed that doesn't require the higher rate, you can stretch this to 4 gallons. But I typically recommend one of these for 2 gallons of water. We'll get the job done. If you want to see a close up of the spray cup or of the spray cup of the measuring cup, in the product description for Celsius, there is I have a video that shows how I like to use it. Again, how I'm describing to you isn't the only rate, but there's multiple ways to use Celsius. But that's the rate that I like and I get great results with. And I'm trying to find, because within that video, there's a section where I do a close up and I show using that. So let me see if I can find it here really quick. Yeah, I think I can find it, but there's a section where I actually show a close up of the cup, of the measuring cup, and the recommended rates. But yeah, 0.226 is what I like to use for 2 gallons of water, and 0.45 with 4 gallons of water is what I like to go with here. Yep, here we go. I think I found it right here. All right, so if you go over, which is, yeah, so right there, see? And here's the thing, I want to go on record and say, believe it or not, that shot was a colossal pain to get. Like, you guys can't see it, but I put like a bunch of stuff behind me to try and make it dark so you could actually get this to focus and make it as clear as it is. So that one, even though you guys don't really appreciate it, that was actually pretty hard to do. At any rate, you can see there that 0.226 rate. You see that they're on the left side, like that's the low rate. That's what you use for 2 gallons of water. And then on the right side, the 0.45 is if you're doing 4 gallons. In this video, I show mixing up 2 gallons of product for spot spraying. So anyway, that's the rate that I like to use. Again, not the only one, but that's one way to do it. So I hope that helps, James. It's a long answer to what should be a short question. But I want to give you the context because there really isn't just one rate. If I say this rate, it's like, depending on what you're trying to accomplish. So hope that helps, sir. Go to the golf course lawn store and check out, like if you go here, this is for Celsius or the Celsius Certainty Kit. If you go to product detail, that drop down in there, you'll see this video, which shows how I like to use it. Again, it's not the only way to use Celsius and Certainty, but it's a way that I find produces great results and minimizes the chance of injury to your lawn. So hope that helps. Any other questions? Let me know. All right, next up is C. Pims. He says, what's happening, Ron? Hope you're having a good Friday. I am. I can't complain, man. Can't complain. Lawn's looking good. Overall, life is good. Cannot complain too much. When do you think is an ideal time to put down fungicide to prevent diseases going into wintertime? Excellent question, CPIMS. So I'm a fan of doing a preventative fungicide app in the beginning of October and another one in the beginning of November. So 2 fungicide apps, 28 days apart. This year, I'm going to be using Pillar SC. In the past, I've used Headway G, but this year I'm going to mix it up. I'm going to use Pillar SC as the fungicide. By making an application in October and November, you do control diseases that are more prone to happen in the wintertime, but also you reduce your chances of spring dead spot next year, which is the primary reason why I apply fungicide in October and November. So hope that helps. And definitely, as far as like a preventative, that's that's good to keep in mind. I mean, when it comes to fungicides, there's really twice per year that I like to use them. The first is in May, June timeframe as a preventative, and then the second time is in October, November, again as a preventative. If you're doing it right, you know what I mean? If you're doing it right, you're able to get your fungicide apps down to prevent problems in the first place. And spring dead spot is one of those things that is like, if you have it in your lawn, if you guys have ever dealt with that, if you have ever dealt with that in your lawn, by the time you see it, there's not a whole lot you can do about it, and you prevent it with fungicide apps in the fall. So a couple things. One, reduce the amount of nitrogen you're putting into the lawn once we get into the later part of the fall. So October, you really need to be weaning the lawn off of, and you don't need to be putting much more nutrient into the lawn that time of year. Again, assuming you're in Georgia and the lawn's starting to check out. If you're in Florida, ignore me. As long as the lawn is still growing, you're still mowing it, keep feeding it. But if you're in this part of the country, you're going to start backing off the amount of nitrogen and then start doing your fungicide apps to prevent spring dead spots. So hope that helps. That's a great question, CPIMS. It's a great question. I like where your mind's going as far as getting on that preventative train. Good stuff. Good stuff. And hope that helps. And again, this year I'm going to be using Pillar. In the past, I used Headway. I mean, use whatever you got. If you don't have Headway, you're just looking for something new to try, you want a liquid, go with give Pillar SC a shot. I really liked the results that I've gotten with that this year. So, all right, so we got a couple of super chats. Let me get down there and get that really quick before things get out of hand. I don't want to catch the ire of folks. So we have one from LG. $6.78. Atlanta area code. Is that what it is that we're doing? LG.
Super chat received.
He says, "Hey Ron, could you run through the slurry process you use to mix biospectrum, and should I add it first or last when mixing with other biostimulants?" Yes. So that's a good question. So if you're using the carbon kit, right, which comes with these pills, which have biospectrum in them, like that. Comes with these guys, right? So you take one of those, and it will cover up to 5,000 square feet. So what I would do, LG, is here's the thing. If your lawn is under 5,000 square feet, use one pill, put it in, get it suspended in water, and then pour it in the tank, and away you go. If you are trying to spray a 5,000 square foot lawn, that is where you are going to want to do some measuring. So what you're going to do is, I don't have a measuring cup here, but you're going to want to measure out 20 fluid ounces of water. You're going to add one of these pills, one of these to that. You're going to mix it up, get it suspended. And what you're going to do is you're going to take the way I fill a backpack sprayer is I fill it halfway full with water, halfway 3/4 of the way full with water. And then I'll add, if say you're doing a 5,000 square foot lawn, you would add 16 of the 20 ounces. So you'd leave 4 ounces back. So 16 of the 20 ounces into that 4 gallons of water. Add your NutriKelp, your Release 901C, or your Release Zero, whatever you happen to do. Add any other fertilizers you're happening to be using, any kind of micronutrient. If you're doing Primo, that's a great time to add it to the tank as well. And then put the top on, get it, shake it up, get that all nicely suspended. Continue filling the sprayer all the way up, and then give it another shake, and then go out and spray your lawn and have a good time. So you'll spray the lawn with 4 gallons of that product mix, which is going to cover 4,000 square feet. So the reason why we leave that 4 ounces back in the measuring cup is because that's enough for another 1,000 square feet. So if you were going to spray a 5,000 square foot lawn, once you get done with the first batch, you come back. You put a gallon of water in the sprayer, you add the 4 ounces of the biospectrum that's suspended, you add the appropriate amount of NutriKelp, Nutrizolve, Release 901C or Release Zero, and anything else you happen to be putting down, like Primo, and then go out and spray the last 1,000 square feet. So that you only have to go through that whole thing if you are spraying a 5,000 square foot lawn. If you're under 5,000 square feet, you don't have to worry about that. So 4,000 square feet or less, just use one of these get it suspended in some amount of water. It doesn't really matter if you're under 4,000 square feet because you're not going to really be measuring it out. I always put water in the tank first, add the biospectrum, add NutriKelp, add 901C or Release Zero, add your Primo, add whatever else you're going to be spraying, and then go, finish, get it suspended, shake it up, and then go to town. Have at it. So hope that helps. I did my best to explain that in the description and also in the video for the carbon kit. Most people don't seem to have too much of a hard time with it, but it's worth going over here because it's something that you may not understand the reasoning why I recommend doing it the way that I recommend doing it. So you don't pretty much so that you have enough product to be able to do a 5,000 square foot lawn is why. So hope that helps, LG. Good question. You're making my brain hurt a little bit. It's a little bit, too early in the evening to be doing math, but okay, whatever. It's good. I'll take it. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate all the love and support. I see that Chris Styles 405 just became a channel member. I appreciate that, Chris. Thank you so much for that. Really do appreciate it. And I got a couple other super chats. Let me grab those really quick. It's Geek Girl is up next. Thank you for joining the live stream.
Super chat received.
She says, "Wow, excellent tip about the surfactant. Oops, now to plug those brown spots in my Bermuda. LOL." Well, here's the thing, Geek Girl. Bermuda's really hard to kill, even when you want to kill it. So if you got a few brown spots here and there, assuming it's getting enough sunlight and you're doing everything else right, it will recover. It's really hard to do permanent damage to a Bermuda grass lawn. So I'm glad that you found the tip about surfactant useful. Thank you so much for the super chat. I really do appreciate it. Next up, we got Mr. Luis Ayabareño. Thank you so much, Luis.
Super chat received.
He says, "Hi, Ron. I just sent a pic after 2 days of turf raking half an acre twice, applied Carbon Pro G and Turfplex with a gallon of PGR." Okay, thank goodness. You got jokes, man. You got me. I was reading through it. I'm like, I'm not reading what I think I'm reading. The gallon of PGR per 1,000 square feet. Just kidding. Rotary mode, so no stripe action. Wow, dude, you made my heart skip a beat there. I was like, no, please tell me you didn't do that. So first things first, let's get you up as the show sponsor because I believe, that is the highest super chat. So let's take care of that first. And yes, you got me, Luis. I didn't read ahead, and I literally thought we're going to have another tragedy on our hands. You having, a gallon of Primo per 1,000 square feet is way, way, way too much. I can't even do the math in my head of how much of an overall application that would be. It'd be a lot. But there you go. Your name in lights for whatever it means to you. And let me see if I can find your picture. You sent me one, and thank you. It's in landscape mode. I really do appreciate that. All right, cool. So here's a picture of his lawn. Again, this is cool season grass in August. So we will have to, make an adjustment for that. And overall, after 2 days of turf raking, that's looking pretty good, man. The color looks great. I love it. That's the best part about turf raking. I got to tell you, kind of a little sidebar here. One of the best things I like about turf raking is the color of the lawn after you're done just looks so much better. And it has nothing really to do with the fact that turf raking makes the lawn greener. It has everything to do with that any of the old debris from mowing that's just been sitting in the lawn, that's been dying and just sitting there, that takes away from that deep, vibrant color. You get all that trash out, and what's left is something that looks like that. So awesome, man. Great job. Very, very good. And you still got stripe action. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. You can tell. I can tell which stripes are away from us and which ones are towards us. So yeah, you still got the stripe action going, even with it being rotary mode. And here's the thing, Luis, you have to look at. We're in August, and with you, I think your lawn is. I think it's a fescue lawn. I believe it is cool season grass. And for it to be looking that good still this time of year, given the temperatures we've been having, imagine 4 weeks from now, once it begins cooling off, how good it's going to look. You know what I mean? So. Great work. Nicely done. Keep it going. Lawn looks awesome. And you got me on the gallon of PGR per 1,000 square feet. Man, whew, that would be bad. Do not do that. Bad things will happen to your lawn. All right, next up we got Kevin D. Jones. Thanks so much, Kevin.
Super chat received.
He says, "Hey, Ron, lurking like LG as usual, putting out foreplay for the 7-day Georgia drought. Thanks for all you do." Now, here's the thing, Kevin. Now, hang on. Look, man. We got to talk. To us in Georgia, 7 days without rain is a drought. But you have to realize that we have a large contingent from Oklahoma and Texas that would love to have 7-day intervals between their rainfall. So with you saying a 7-day drought is a little bit insensitive. I know you didn't mean it, but for our brethren and sister in the center the center of the country that are their lawns being baked as we speak, 7-day drought is a little bit tongue in cheek. I just want to put that out there. But I'm glad. Good job getting your foreplay down. Hopefully that will do. I'm sure it's going to do the job as far as keeping the lawn looking great, helping maintain its color. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. All right, so let's see what we have here as far as anything in the gram. Nothing. You guys are quiet tonight, just hanging out, enjoying life, huh? All right, thanks you guys for the super chat. Let me go back up and find where I left off, which is always the hardest part of the live stream. This is where I make a mistake and I skip over like a bunch of questions, and then we get to like hour 3 of the show and you guys are like saying, hey man, you skipped my question. Why are you like that? You don't like me anymore? That kind of thing. So I'm very careful about trying to find where I left off. All right, next up is Simple Man. He says, thank you, sir. Really appreciate the response. I'll check out those items on your site. I'm in Phoenix, by the way. Yes, it's hot. Very, very cool. Simple Man. So now here's the thing too, guys. Another public PSA. Believe it or not, Turfplex and Nutrizolve are back in stock. For how long? We'll see, because it's been something that's been really tough to keep in stock all season. They're currently back in stock, so if you are looking to get some Nutrizolve or Turfplex for your lawn, I'll show you exactly what I'm talking about here. It's these liquid fertilizers that are very popular. You go to shop and look on lawn fertilizer. I think they're still there. It'd be very embarrassing if they're already sold out again. Nope, they're not yet. Okay, cool. So Turfplex is still there, and Nutrizolve is still there. So these guys have been tough to keep in stock this season. So we got a shipment in a few days ago, so they're good to go. So if you need liquid fert and Turfplex, which you prefer, and Nutrizolve, which you want to use for a micronutrient, they are here. Of course, obviously, Release 901C, which is what I've been using on my lawn this season, is there. We got plenty of that, so you guys are all good to go from that standpoint. But I want to let everyone that was looking to get it and that has not gotten it to let you know that these guys are both back. So good stuff. All right, next up is Joanne Lampron. What's going on, Joanne? What's going on, Jojo? She says, happy Friday. Thanks for coming to hang out and saying hi in the live stream. I appreciate you. Hopefully you guys and you and Marcel are doing well, and all the fur babies are doing well. So thanks for coming to hang out in the live stream. I appreciate you guys taking some time out of your Friday evening. And then next up is Jonathan Daza. He says, when should I put down my pre-emergent / prodiamine? I am located in Los Angeles and I have turf top tall fescue. Thank you. So I am a fan of doing my prodiamine applications or my pre-emergent applications in the fall. Actually, let me start over. Let me ask this question again. So he says, when should I put down my pre-emergent / prodiamine? I am located in Los Angeles and I have turf type tall fescue. Thank you. So in the Southeast US, Jonathan, I'm a fan of doing my pre-emergent application in late August, so a couple of weeks from now, to early September, because by getting your pre-emergent down a little bit early, you are ahead of the curve. You ensure that you have it in the soil prior to weeds that you're trying to control, like Poanua, begin germinating. The most correct answer is you want to have it in the soil prior to average soil temps getting in the high 60s. So when you see the soil temps are in the low 70s, trending cooler, that's a good time to get your pre-emergent in the soil, because it's going to set you up to prevent, again, weeds that are difficult to control, especially in cool season lawns like Poanua. So hope that helps. What I'm going to be doing, the reason why I started the question over is because I'm not going to, as far as what I'm going to be using on my line, it's not going to be prodiamine in the fall. I'm going to be using Spectacle Flow, this guy here. You guys can't see that because it's not focusing. This one right here. This is the pre-emergent that I like to use in the fall, mainly because it's so good against Poanua. And but you can't use that on, it's for warm season turf only. You don't want to really use that on a cool season lawn, because it will damage and or kill it. So you don't want to do that. But as far as timing, the most correct answer is soil temps low 70s. Get your pre-emergent down. When it comes to pre-emergent, again, people have different feelings on this, but I'm a fan of always saying that when it comes to pre-emergent, a little bit early is better than a little bit late. So you want to have it in the soil prior to the weeds emerging. That is when it works best. As far as some other content that can help you with this, Jonathan, we did a blog post last week on this topic of fall pre-emergent. So if you go to the resources section and then the blog on the Golf Course Lawn Store, you will see our latest post, the ultimate guide to fall weed control. And it talks about the role of pre-emergent in fall weed control, the role of post-emergent herbicides, how to use them together, identifying common fall weeds, obviously Poanua, Poania is there, Handbit's there, but this is the one that is the bane of our existence in warm season lawns, and really for cool season folks too, because we have a way to control this. You have a warm season lawn, you get POA in it. We can use this to control it, and it does a pretty good job of getting rid of it in warm season lawns. In a cool season lawn, there's not really a lot of great options for controlling POA that are not going to discolor or injure your lawn in the process too, right? So from a standpoint of warm season folks, we're kind of spoiled in that we have options for controlling it. You cool season guys and gals, not so much. So all the more reason why, if you're going to do a fall pre-emergent app, you might want to consider doing like split apps. If you've got enough prodiamine left on your annual limit, you might do an application right whenever soil temps are beginning to cross, 70s trending cooler, and then 3 months later, so say if you did one in like the beginning of September, September, October, November, and then beginning of December, you could do another application, and that's going to give you more, it's going to extend the coverage as far as a control against Poania, because you really want to keep POA out of a cool season lawn. It's really difficult to get rid of in cool season turf, again, without injuring your lawn in the process. Check out that blog post. Again, I will link it here in the chat. It's got lots of great content in there that I think you'll find useful as far as just strategies for controlling weeds in your lawn. And again, the best way and the cheapest way to keep weeds out of your lawn, or to not have weeds, is to prevent them in the first place. And pre-emergent is an important tool, Jonathan, for doing that. So there you go. There's the blog post. Hope that helps. If you have any other questions, let me know. Next up is Phyllis Lawrence, also, I believe, hailing from the great state of Texas. She says, happy Friday, Ron, and fellow lawn connoisseurs. See, I say lawn enthusiasts, not Phyllis. Phyllis says, we're lawn connoisseurs. From San Antonio, Texas. Looking forward to another great informative show. Get those likes up. I appreciate that, Phyllis. So we are, we're an hour in. We got 150 people in the live stream. If you guys are getting some value out of this, or at a minimum, if it's entertaining, hit the like button. It's completely free to support the channel. I'd really appreciate it. I'll even put some hit the like button music on. There you go. There's the hit the like button music that's playing right now. If you guys hit that right now, it's a free way to support the channel. Sends good vibes to YouTube. Causes more folks to come over this way. Makes it easier for me to get like Lee from Real Rollers on again. Makes it easier for me to get Devin on again, because those guys, they're people in this world. They're not like me. They're actually have some standard in life, and they want to make sure they have a big audience. So if you guys hit that like button, it helps with that. All right. So next up we have Tony Israel. He says, hello, Ron and company. What's going on, Tony? Thanks for coming to hang out and say hello. And he's a question. Okay, here we go. It's an interesting one. He says, question. Will an overdose of Nutrizolve cause damage to Bermuda? I have noticed some discoloration, darkening in turf spots. Depends on how much of an overdose or over application we're talking about. So if you over apply iron, what you'll tend to find is the lawn will get really dark green, and then I find it turns like a dark, almost like a purplish gray color, and then it goes back to dark green, and it goes back to its regular color. That tends to be temporary, as far as what I've seen when people overdo it with iron applications. Nutrizolve has 2% iron in it, so you'd really have to go pretty heavy to overdo it on the Nutrizolve. Anything applied at a high enough rate can be damaging to your lawn. But I based on what you're describing to me, it sounds like you just went a little heavy-handed, and 2 weeks from now, 10 days, 2 weeks from now, you really should see the color return, and it shouldn't really be that much of a problem. So I wouldn't worry about it. As far as the rate that I use for Nutrizolve that I recommend is 6 ounces per 1,000 square feet. I find produces a great color. It's a good rate to use overall, even when you're blending it with other products. So if you're blending it with the carbon kit, 6 ounces per 1,000 is the rate that I like to use. The only only time I would reduce that from 6 ounces per 1,000 is if you are doing, I'll show you here really quick. You go to shop and go to lawn fertilizer. So if you're using this combination, like the stack that I'm running this year, which is 901C, NutriCalc, BioSpectrum, pretty much the 901C carbon kit, I will also throw some Nutrizolve in the tank at a rate of 6 ounces per 1,000. However, if you're not doing that, say you're not using 901C, you're using kelp, and you're using the Sailor Zero carbon kit, to where you're using Turfplex as your nitrogen source. In that case, if you're using Turfplex and Nutrizolve, I would back the rate down on Nutrizolve to 3 ounces per 1,000. Here's why. Nutrizolve has 2% iron in it, and Turfplex also already has iron in it. So there's no real need to go, to be as heavy-handed with the Nutrizolve. You're still going to get a great color response. You're still going to get plenty. There's still plenty of iron at the 3-ounce rate of Nutrizolve combined with what's already in Turfplex, that you're going to get a good color response in the lawn. So that's the only thing I would say back the rate down a little bit. But 6 ounces per 1,000 produces great results. I haven't seen the need to go heavier than that. As far as your chance of you having any kind of permanent injury, fairly unlikely. Again, what you'll see is it'll go dark green and then to this grayish purplish color, and then then the effects will go away and it'll go back to the color it was before. So I wouldn't worry about it. Next time I would not overdo the application rate. So hope that helps. Tony, if you have any other questions, definitely let me know. So yeah, don't overdo it when it comes to the application rates for Nutrizolve or really any product for that matter. Next up, we have James Kelly. He says, yes, I like it when Devin is on. He breaks up all this warm season propaganda. Wow, see, it's fighting worse. Why you gotta be like that, James? I can appreciate cool season lawns. Look, I even bring cool season lawns on the show. Look at Luis's lawn, like front and center. I talk really highly of cool season lawns. I even say that, really, from my perspective, you can't beat, as far as like stripes, I think that ryegrass stripes incredibly well. Stripes better than Bermuda does. So I give cool season folks a fair shake here. I mean, Devin even won. He won like the stripe competition. If I had something against cool season folks, I would have gamed it or done something to where there's no way can't have a cool season person win. So whatever, he'll be back. All this warm season propaganda, whatever. We can control POA in our lawn and not kill our grass. So that's one thing that we do have that you guys don't have, right? So that's kind of cool. All right, next up is Michael Fetty. He says, how would I can never pronounce it. Imidacloprid compared to Acelepryn? They're both good insecticides. The imidacloprid is probably going to be a little bit less expensive than Acelepryn. The thing that I like about Acelepryn, as far as the range of insects that it controls, I don't know if imidacloprid has control for turf caterpillars. It might. The big thing for Acelepryd is, as far as insecticides go, it is one that covers a broad range of insects and is also a very environmentally conscious insecticide. So as far as not harming pollinators, not harming invertebrates like earthworms, like an insecticide checks that box, right? Like the active ingredient in Acelepryn, chlorantraniliprole, is really good. It's really good, which is why it's used so much in professional turf. So Acelepryn costs a bit more. I like it as an insecticide. It's what I've been using on my lawn for several years. I'd have to look at the label to see if there's coverage between, if imidacloprid has similar coverage as Acelepryn. But I can tell you that the one that I use, Acelepryn, really, it covers pretty much everything that you're going to see as far as the common insects that damage turf grass. So your grubs, your annual bluegrass weevils, any kind of turf caterpillar, it takes care of all of those. And again, it also does it in a way that's as eco-friendly as you can be for an insecticide, which is the reason why I really like it. So hope that helps, sir. I'll have to look at the label to give you a better answer, but that's part of the reasons why I just gave to you are the reasons why I lean towards Acelepryn as my insecticide of choice. All right, next up, we have Keith Madison. We got a long one here. Keith is chiming in from Facebook. He says, good evening, Ron. Almost 3 weeks ago, I had my lawn Tifway 419. Great grass type, by the way. It's not a cool season grass, but still awesome grass type. I had it aerated, put down Carbon Pro G, fertilizer, PGR, cut my Bermuda down from 1.25 inches to 1/2 inch as the PGR bronzed my grass. Since then, the Tifway has been on the struggle bus. Very slow growth and very slow green up. What gives? Oh, watering 4 days a week with irrigation, 30 minutes per zone. It's looking like I lost the fight, LOL. So here's the thing. I think you went a little bit heavy-handed, Keith, as far as your height of cut reduction. So you did a lot of things here. Let's just unpack this question, because you did a lot of things in a shorter period of time, right? So aeration, that does introduce some stress to the lawn, but that's not terribly bad, right? Carbon Pro G, good thing. Fertilizer, good thing. Growth regulator, also good. When you went from an inch and a quarter down to half an inch, that is when you really stress the lawn. I don't know what rates you used with Primo or with whatever growth regulator you happen to use, but if you do find you get a little bit of tip burn, you just takes a little bit off. You could take, an eighth off, and that's all you normally need to take off to get the lawn to recover from that. So it'll grow through it. If you take 3/4 of an inch off, which I think that's right, that's my math is right. You take 3/4 of an inch off, that is stressful to the lawn, right? If you do that in the middle of summer, especially if it hasn't been maintained at that height, I'm not surprised that you are seeing that it's taking a bit longer to recover, because essentially what you did is you scalped it. That's a pretty drastic height of cut change. Again, think about that: an inch and a quarter to half an inch. That's 3/4 of an inch. You cut a lot of material off the lawn in a time of year when it's already under stress from the high temperatures. So I believe that is why you're seeing the slow recovery. What I would say is, if you are committing to mowing at half an inch or just above half an inch, just keep mowing it. The mowing stimulates new growth. It does help the grass recover faster. It's kind of counter intuitive, but the more you mow your lawn, again, assuming your equipment's sharp, the lawn is actually going to start greening up and recovering and thickening up faster. So if whatever height of cut you are going to stick with, if you're going to be at, say, 5/8 or 3/4 of an inch, I think 3/4 of an inch honestly is a pretty good height of cut to go with, especially this time of year. Just get it to that height and just mow it. Just keep mowing it, and it'll green back up. There's still enough time in the season for the lawn to bounce back. I would not go crazy with the watering. So you're running 30 minutes per day, 4 days a week, depending on your water pressure. So there's so many factors. Depending on your water pressure and the kind of sprinkler head you're using, that could be a lot of water. It might not be a ton of water. But I would not go too crazy with inputs or with water as a means to try and get the lawn to recover faster. Like the scalp that you did to it is really what's causing it to lag a bit as far as coming back. Just continue mowing it. Mow it, make sure your equipment is sharp, and mow it at whatever height of cut you want to leave the lawn at. Just keep doing that, and it's going to recover and be just fine. You got Bermuda. Again, going from an inch and a quarter down to half an inch is not going to kill it. It just make it look ugly like what you're experiencing, but it will bounce back. And again, in the future, if this happens, if you happen to be a bit heavy-handed with your growth regulator application, you don't need to take that much off. Really, just an eighth, just a taste of grass. Take a little bit off of it, and the lawn will recover just fine. You don't have to go through a major scalp if you happen to suffer some tip burn in the lawn. So hope that helps, her. Great question. Sorry you're dealing with that. I would say do not try and change a ton of things at once. The most important thing that I didn't see you mention here, I didn't see it. There's no mention about mowing. No mention, Keith. No mention. So I'm gonna come down hard on you on this one. You mentioned all this other stuff you're doing, but I'm not seeing any mention of mowing frequency, which makes me wonder. Makes me ponder. So increase that, increase the mowing frequency, and that's going to help the lawn to come back. So thanks for the question again. Really do appreciate it. This too shall pass. Robert Rainey's up. He says, hey, Oliver's lawn's looking great. Dang, I just got called out. Yeah, you're that guy, man. Listen, here's the thing, Robert. Once you broke out the prism gauge, you became that guy. I'm sorry. It's just going to be a thing. It's always going to be that thing. Here's the thing. If you don't believe you're that guy, I will take this, we'll just do it. We'll do it this way. We'll ask the audience. We'll do a script poll. Let's see here. Do any of you own a prism gauge? I think it's like that. I think it's how it's spelled. I'm gonna add another option. I'm gonna say yes, no, don't know what that is. All right, so there you go. So we'll ask everybody, and we'll see what everyone else comes up with. Like who else in the live stream, other than Robert, owns a prism gauge? I think you're gonna find that not a lot of folks. I think here's the thing: you may find it normal, Robert, but you're that guy. When you do it, you don't do anything halfway, which is good. That's a good way to be. It's a good trait to have in life. But so far we are a lot of no's. Robert, if you are the one saying yes, we'll know. So don't try and offset the results here. All right. So while that's running, we'll go on to the next question. Timothy Smithy says, "Hey Ron and serious lawn care people, I have used a soil cubed to level the lawn the past few years, sometimes 2 times. Next season, considering using some sand to further level some problem areas. Any thoughts? No issues with doing that. I like the soil cube compost because it's really clean. There's not a lot of trash in the mix. But if all you're looking for is just strictly leveling, and you're pretty happy with where the lawn is now, and you're not wanting to, you don't want to incur the expense, and you're also willing, Timothy, to go through the additional work you have to go through as far as getting any rocks or debris out of whatever sand material you tend to go with. If you're fine with all that, then I'm good with it. You know what I mean? That's the big thing, is that as a time saver, that soil cube mix is huge. It's huge, huge, huge. So that's why I'm such a big proponent of it, and why I like it so much. And I've tried a lot of different leveling mixes, especially the ones that are available in my area, and that stuff was by far the best. But if you want to go with sand, because all you care about is leveling, I'm not opposed to that either. Just be prepared to. You may, depending on the quality of the sand you get, you may have some work after the fact as far as getting rocks and other debris out of the lawn. So just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. All right, so let me find out what's up next, find out where I left off. And next we have Zach Daily with I guess the Daily Driven Focus ST. He says, "Happy Friday. Been chilling at around 105 degrees here in the Pacific Northwest. I think that's what that stands for. 105 degrees in the Pacific Northwest. Wow. Got the back lawn dead and scarified and waiting to seed, and going to be switching to a John Deere Greens for the end of the season." Nice. So you got a John Deere Greens mower. You know what? We're going to have to clap it up for that. Give you some love, some dap. Congratulations. I don't know if you've always had it, but you said you're going to be switching to that, so it kind of makes me feel like it's new. And if it is, congrats on the new equipment. Very, very cool. Offered NV from Instagram says no prism here, so that's also another negative. We'll let it run for a little bit longer. I might be wrong. You know what? At the end of the poll will probably come in. It'll probably be like 75%, 80% of you guys all got prism gauges, and I'm the one that's behind the curve not having a prism gauge. It totally could happen. Could be. All right, Keith Madison says, let's get those likes up, fellow lawn nerds. Yes, let's do that, Keith. I appreciate it. All right, Andrew Phillips is up next. He says, hey, Ron and all. Lawn hanging in there with 109-degree temps in Texas. Slightly struggling. We'll be putting a second round of Primo this weekend with Turfplex, seeing areas sinking in my yard like last year because of the heat. Wow, that really stinks, Andrew. Sorry to hear that. Just keep at it, man. I mean, we shouldn't have too much longer of this. Another 3 to 4 weeks, it should start cooling off some. I mean, it's still gonna be hot in Texas, but it shouldn't be quite, 100 and it shouldn't be triple digits is what I'm trying to say. So let's hope. Confidence is high that you guys will not be dealing with that the entire, the rest of the season. So it should start cooling off here for you soon. All right, next up we have Zach Focus ST. He says, also, I've sent 2 pictures of the last 2 weeks' progress. Now, Zach, hopefully in the email you sent, you said, hey, this is Zach, because I don't know. I can't find you otherwise. I don't know. I don't see you. I don't see you here, Zach. If you don't mind, send the email again and just say, hey, it's Zach. Put Zach in the subject line, because then I'll know who it is, because I get a ton of email, and otherwise I don't know who it's what to look out for. All right. And then next up we have No Name. He says, hey Ron, happy Friday. It's been a long week, and this is right on time. Let's get those likes up. Tell me about it, man. It has been a long week. Yeah, it's been a challenging week at work for sure. So yeah, I totally hear you on that. No Name. So, but yeah, this too shall pass, right? Like we always say, it'll get better. Next up, we got McNasty Motorsports. 107 degrees. You say it's not so bad. You merely adopted the heat. I was born in it. That's my what is, and I can't remember his name. The guy in Batman, the guy that Batman was fighting. What's his name? You guys, I'm terrible. I can see the guy with the mask. Anyway, so 107 degrees. He says is not that bad. So McNasty is showing his lawn. He sent me a picture here. So this is what his lawn is looking like right now, and I gotta say, overall, not bad. Low profile shot, but that is in. What kind of temperatures are you dealing with? 121 degree temperatures. Wow, 121 degrees Fahrenheit. Good heavens. And 4-mile-an-hour wind. So what does that feel like? It's got to feel like you're just walking in an oven outside, right? Whenever the breeze is going, it's got to feel like you're cooking. So that's got to be horrible. So yeah, guys, I mean, guys and gals in Texas, You could have, you could have this. You could have, no, not that. You could have 100 and 121 degree temperatures, which so it could always get worse. As bad as it is, it can always get worse, right? So there's always that to consider. So we'll keep the poll running for a little bit longer here, maybe another 5-10 minutes, and then we will shut it down and see who else has a prism gauge. Again, maybe a lot of you guys do. It actually might be a thing. I might look like an idiot here because most of you guys have them. All right, next up is Jim Cole. He says, Ron, hope you're well and the grass is growing. It's doing okay. He says, when measuring in situ soil depth for pre-emergent application, does the depth of measurement depend on the type of grass and root structure? Jim, you got me. So soil depth for pre-emergent application. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why you would measure the. Are you applying pre-emergent a different way than just like either a granular or using a liquid to spray and then water it in? You're doing some kind of, I guess, maybe some kind of injection or whatever. I've never done that. You got me. You stumped me. I don't have a. I've never measured soil depth as part of my pre-emergent application. So I apply it and I water it in. I am imagining that what you're referring to is some method of injection, and I don't know. I'll have to, if you don't mind, I'll take a screenshot of that and I'll see if I can get an answer for you, because I've not done or nor have I heard of pre-emergent being applied that way. Typically what it is, you apply it, water it in, half an inch of water or so to get it in the soil profile, and away you go. You know what I mean? So I might learn something new here. So thanks for that. You also sent me some pictures of your lawn as far as how it's doing this time of year, and I think I can get these up. These don't look like they are too big. So let's see, what kind of grass are you working with, Jim? It's Emerald Zoysia. And these pictures were from a couple days ago. So on August 16th, he says. All right. So for Emerald Zoysia, I got to tell you, that's looking pretty good. Nice. I like the color. Overall, can't complain. Can't complain with that, Jim. Stripe action is looking on point. Nice. Yeah, dude. Yeah, it looks good. I got to tell you, it's funny. And here's the thing now, and I hate to even say this, but I got to say it. I hate to say it because Zoysia folks are like, they're almost as bad as like cool season folks as far as thinking that their grass doesn't stink. They think their grass is like the greatest thing since sliced bread. However, I will say this time of year especially is where you see how Zoysia really shines. Because with Bermuda, unless you are turf raking and verticutting and being very intentional about your height of cut to where you try and prevent scalping, like Bermuda is very easy to scalp this time of year, whereas Zoysia maintains its color because so much more of the leaf is green that it looks better even whenever temps are higher and maybe you're cutting a little bit more off as it begins to grow faster. Again, I use air quotes faster for Zoysia. So I hate to even have to admit this because Zoysia folks are just you guys are a special bunch. You're not as bad as cool season folks, but y'all are, as far as like when it comes to warm season, you guys are very much the champagne crowd. You guys are more the mixed drink crowd of the warm season turf grass community, whereas us Bermuda, we're probably more Guinness beer type, and then St. Augustine. I don't know what you guys drink, So yeah, but yeah, it's thanks for that, Jim. I don't have a question to answer your question, but I do appreciate you sending me the pictures of your Emerald Zoysia lawn. It looks really nice, and it's funny. This looks good, but like if you go to the Real Rollers Turf Park and look at their Xeon Zoysia plot, man, it's incredible. I mean, granted, half it's scalped right now because of all the mowing stuff they're doing right now, but as far as the color, and even if you cut it low, it's still really maintains it, holds on to its color really well compared to Bermuda this time of year. So. There you go, Zoysia folks. I said something nice about you. All right. Next up is Jim. He says, should we measure at 3 inches or deeper? I don't know, Jim. I'm going to have to look up the comments you asked about the way you're doing your pre-emergent applications. Again, typically when it comes to pre-emergent, it's apply it, water it in, and then wait. That's what I've done. That's what I do. That's all I've ever seen anyone else do. I've never seen any of the services around here do anything other than they get out there with their shower head and they spray pre-emergent and then stick a sign in the yard and say, hey, water this in or wait for it to rain you know, and they get pretty good results with that. So if you're doing some kind of a soil injection for pre-emergent, I don't know the answer to that. I'm not sure how well that would work, man. I don't know how you would do that across an entire lawn, because it's not like it's gonna, like, it seems like you'd have pooling if you did that, but I don't know. I'll have to do some research on it. Okay, next up is that crazy lawn guy. He says they answer questions very quickly at Real Rollers. They do. I mean, yeah. I mean, they get a lot of. I know they get a lot of email, a lot of phone calls, but yeah, Lee does do his best to answer questions. And I think one thing they also try and do as well too is they get the same question over and over. They have an FAQ on their website, and just, you know, consult that, because it's, you know, a lot of questions when it comes to real mowers have probably been asked before, and if you check, you know, the frequently asked questions, you can normally get your answer, and it'll be faster, and you don't have to sit on the phone or take up time emailing anybody or waiting for a response, right? So there is that. Okay, so it's been enough time. We will end the poll and we will see how many of you have prism gauges. Am I in the minority, or am I completely wrong on this where 90% of you have prism gauges? Let's end the poll and see. And as far as prism gauges, we have, do any of you have prism gauges? 77% said no. 20% says I don't know what that is, and 1%, aka Robert, says yes. So Robert, you are that guy. See, I went on a limb. I feel vindicated. All right, that is good. That's good. So yeah, you're the only one in the live stream out of 54 votes with a prism gauge. It might be someone else. Maybe you didn't vote, but I think it's probably you. It's probably you. You know, it's which is good. I'm glad you didn't try and game it. I mean, you know, here's the thing: you may have been tempted to tell the wife go log in on her YouTube account, get on the stream, and then hey, click yes. So you have at least two. You'd be like, you get 2% then, or you know, 1.5%, 2%, whatever that would be if two of you guys voted. But yeah. So you see, when I say that you are that guy, like unsolicited, like the 1%, that's you. That's you. You're the one person with a prism gauge on the live stream. All right, so next up is T. Collins. He says, hey, Ron, when are you putting out Spectacle Flow, and what's the rate? I'm in Metro Atlanta. Yes, I'm going to be doing my first Spectacle app Labor Day weekend. So let's see. It's not next weekend. I think it's 2 weekends from now. Let me look here. The weekend of September 2nd. September 2nd is when it's going to happen. September 2nd or 3rd. That weekend is when I will do Spectacle. And so here's the thing. Last year, I went out at the 0.18. So what I do is I take Spectacle and I have an empty Aceleprint bottle that I use. I've got Spectacle written all over it. And I go out at just under 0.2 ounces. That's what I did last year. Got really good results with that. This year I'm going to play with it. So this year I'm going to go out lower. I'm going to go out at right at 0.1, and then December timeframe, I'll do another application at just under 0.1 again. So I'm going to use the same amount of active ingredient in this fall that I did last year, but instead of doing 2 apps, I'm going to do 1 app, because I always do single. I never really do split apps. I want to play with it and see why not, right? I mean, I get great results using just a single app at the higher rate, and I'm looking for something to do in like the November, December timeframe. So that's my plan. So it's going to be Spectacle at the low rate, and again in like late, I guess that would be considered late fall, early winter is when I will do another application of it. So, you know, something you guys can also do too, for those of you that maybe have some POA in your lawns. So say you waited later on in the season. Something I was toying with the idea of doing, but I'm probably not going to do it. I was toying with the idea of not doing Spectacle in September and letting some POA like begin, you know, showing up in the lawn, and then apply it in like November, like late November timeframe, and also spike the application with some certainty. So use certainty as like a post-emergent, put some certainty and Spectacle and apply them at the same time, and let the certainty sit on the lawn for a day, and then water the Spectacle in the following day. I was toying with the idea of doing that just as a test, just to see what kind of results I would get. But knowing me, I'm probably just gonna stick to what I know works, and just keep the POA out. I'd rather not have POA versus trying to fight with it potentially in the late winter and early spring next year. So yes, as far as what I'm going to be doing, Labor Day weekend, so the 2nd or 3rd, I'll be going out at the low rate, and then again just before December again. Again, that's that same low rate. If you go and look on Bayer's website, there is, I could actually, at some point I'll find it and I'll link it for you guys. There are a couple of different ways of using Spectacle. They offer a rate table, a rate card that has you applying it once. They have a rate card that has, there's up to three applications if you want. So I'm going to split the difference and do 2 apps, but because they have different ways, they give different rates that you can use depending on how many apps you want to use with Spectacle. I've gotten great results with just one. I'll tell you, the lawn care services around here that use Spectacle, they apply it one time, right? So it's not like there's really any need to do the split apps or to do what I'm going to be testing this year. But I just want to see, if I go out at the lower rate and then I go again in late November, early December, what kind of control do I get as far as POA goes? I already don't have any using it just one time in late August, early September timeframe. So let's see if I do split apps, if I get the same level of control next spring by doing that. So we'll see, something to play with. If I have POA, it's okay. I got something to get rid of it, so something to play with. But what I would say for you, T Collins, you can either do what I'm doing, or you can do the tried and true, which is, bias a little bit towards the higher end, so like between 0.15, 0.18 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Like that rate you'll apply once, and that produces excellent results as far as keeping POA out of your lawn. So hope that helps, sir. And stay tuned for that. I will definitely, I got to do a pre-emergent video here soon, so that will be, there'll be a point of discussion. All right, next up we have Jim. Okay, I already answered that question, Jim, or I didn't answer your question. I already said I don't have the answer to it. Next up is James Smith. He says, back to Will Larkin's question on temperature and Insecticide. Ron, should it be looked at the actual temp or the real feel temperature? Whatever the temperature is for that day. I don't know. Are you talking about like the heat index? I think whatever the measured temperature is what I would use. Is what I've always used, James. So it's a good question. I've never heard of people using the heat index as the metric they use to time herbicide applications. Whatever the measured air temperature is that day is what I would go by. I wouldn't necessarily go by, it's 85 degrees, but it feels like 107. Not that would happen, but what I'm saying, just whatever the measured temperature is during the day is what I would say. All right, next up is Devin. He says, you're too fine, Jamie Kelly. I do love learning about all the warm season agronomic practices, though. Cool. Yeah, man. I don't know. Devin, and that's the question I'm going to have for you. Whenever you come on the show next time, based on what you see us do with warm season turf, do you think that is warm season grass easier or harder than cool season grass? What are your thoughts on the matter? All right, next we have Demarculus Thompson. Let me see who else we got here on the gram. Nope. All right, we got Demarculus Thompson. He says, greetings, Ron and turfers. What is the best time to apply Spectacle Flow? Should I wait until Bermuda is dormant? No, I wouldn't wait till it's dormant, Demarculus. When it comes to Spectacle, the most correct answer when it comes to your fall pre-emergent is whenever soil temps are in the low 70s and trending cooler is a good time to get your pre-emergent down. I like to get my pre-emergent down a little bit early, so late August, early September is when I'll be doing mine. Previous question I just got, the answer to it is going to be September 2nd or 3rd. So Labor Day weekend is when I'm going to be doing my Spectacle Flow application. By doing that, you're going to be ahead of the curve before POA really starts taking off and becoming a problem, and you'll get great results with that. So hope that helps. Yeah, so definitely when it comes to pre-emergent Demarculus, remember, a little bit early is better than a little bit late. And I would tell you, man, I would encourage you, if you can find some, friends, play cousins, someone that, that you like that has warm season grass that will split a bottle with you. You could take one of these bottles and split it 3 ways, and you'd still, unless you got a really large property, you still got plenty of product. So yeah, I would having just one for yourself is, unless you got, just get a really big lawn is kind of overkill. But if you want the best for POA, in my opinion, it's tough to beat Spectacle. All right, so over here on the Instagram, we got Tom Hoffman chiming in. We got Masterpiece is kind of cool. Saying cool handle, saying hi. We got Alan Hernan. What's going on, Alan? Hopefully you're doing well as well, hanging out in the live stream. All right, next up is Trilla, the Trilla in Manila. He says, happy Friday, Ron and Sharp Action Gang. I missed last week's live stream due to a family matter, but I see we have a new toy coming to market. We do. mad scientist over at Real Rollers has been hard at work trying out all kinds of different mowers, trying out and testing, and I got to play with a few of them, and I believe, in my opinion, he did settle on the best option. He tried a bunch of different mowers, some of which you guys have heard of, some of you haven't heard of, and the one that he ended up going with is, I think, is a good platform to build what is going to be essentially a custom mower for Real Rollers. I mean, the mower, I believe, is being built by a company called Massport. Lee showed you guys pictures of it. It's being built by Massport, but it's all like the grooved roller, you know, the way the drive system is going to be set up, and a bunch of other tips and, you know, cool add-ons that I can't really talk about are going to be specific to that mower. It's going to be the only one of its kind, for sure. So it's pretty cool, pretty cool. As far as a mower goes, I think you guys are going to really like it. For someone that's just looking just for a straight mower, I think it's going to be a great choice. You guys are going to really enjoy it. All right, next up is Bob Matthews. He says, Zoysia looks great with that mow job. It does. It does. It does. It sure does. So, you know, you look at what Robert did here on the Zoysia, man, that is looking good. Looks like he did double wides too. So he got like a, you know, he did double wides with, I'm not sure how wide those stripes are. It looks like double wides with a rotary. Looks like to me. I like a push rotary. I think it's a right-on. They don't look wide enough to be right-on stripes. Yeah, it looks like a rotary to me. Maybe it's a push mower. You have to let me know, Robert. Maybe I'm wrong on that. Is it a rider or is it a push mower? All right, Zach with the Daily Focus ST says, Ron, on the chicken sandwiches, Bojangles is king unless you can recommend somewhere better near the Valdosta area. Okay, so here's the now look, man, look. This show, hang on, let me get his picture off of here. This show is about turfgrass. I don't want to start getting hate comments on which chicken sandwich is the best chicken sandwich. I can tell you my preference. It does not mean, hang on, let me just sip here and think. Life's choices. Do you really want to go here, Ron? Okay. So, I've heard the Bojangles chicken sandwich is good. I've not had that one. I've had the Chick-fil-A, here's the thing. I like spicy chicken sandwiches. So take what I'm saying with a grain of salt. That should be used as a qualifier. I've had the Chick-fil-A chicken sandwich. I actually had one today for lunch. It was actually quite tasty. I've had the Kentucky Fried Chicken sandwich, whatever they consider, which is, you know, KFC has lost their way over the years, you know, in my opinion. Anyway, there's that one. And I've had the Popeyes chicken sandwich. And for me, now I realize I'm in the South and at Chick-fil-A, you know, you're talking about the Lord's chicken sandwich, you talk bad about Chick-fil-A, but for me, as far as a spicy chicken sandwich goes, for me, Popeyes makes the best one. Like the sauce they use, the bread, they have like some kind of breading they put on it, but it gives it like a little firm crunch to it. It's a good, like the texture and the flavor for me is the best spicy chicken sandwich in my taste, you know, for my palate. Now, I've had the non-spicy one and it's okay. I mean, I like spicy food. But so the non-spicy one is okay. That one is kind of a toss-up. I've never had the Bojangles. I have to do a taste test at some point to be able to, you know, to be informed. The KFC one I like by far the least. And but yeah, for me, Popeyes makes the best chicken sandwich. There isn't one nearby here. It's kind of out of the way. And, you know, any of you guys that are Chick-fil-A folks, do not send me hate mail. This is just my opinion, just my thoughts. Just like kind of like how, you know, I like Bermuda grass and you like Zoysia grass and we're still okay. We can still coexist. You know, my love of a particular type of chicken sandwich does not need to divide us. Let it bring it, you know, we can be united in turf grass. We can be united in our particular preference when it comes to chicken sandwiches. All right, so there you go. Next up is Stephen Thompson. He says, do you think it is a bad idea to put sand or sandy loam mix inside the large cracks where the black clay is? Back of the property, not near the house. Do I think it's a bad idea to put sand or sandy loam mix inside the large cracks where the black clay is? I don't understand. I guess if you're asking me, Stephen, if you have a lawn and there are low areas and you want to top dress those areas with a sandy loam or sand material, I don't see why that would be a problem. I'm not understanding where the black clay part is where you're losing me. That's the part where I'm not understanding. You said some pictures in email I sent a while back. Let's get those likes up. Yeah, I'm trying to think about the pictures, Stephen. What I would say is this: if you have a low spot in your lawn and you're trying to improve the drainage in that area, top dressing with a material that has some sand in it is going to help improve drainage. So the answer to the question to that is yes, I would do that. That said, I wouldn't overdo it. I wouldn't, I don't know how deep these cracks are or how big of an area you're talking about or how low it is. I would not try and do it all in one go to where you are like you're smothering the grass and you're trading one problem for another. So yes to sand, yes to top dressing. But again, as I always say, 1/4 of an inch to 1/2 an inch is what I would say to do. And really this time of year, man, unless you are in like Florida or like South Texas or Arizona, somewhere where it's going to be hot for still, several months to come, you're really kind of rolling the dice when it comes to doing any kind of top dressing this time of year. Like if you ask me in Georgia, would I top dress a lawn now? I think I'd really think twice about it, because if it's already starting to cool off, again, the high today was 88. You don't want to get up there and have a lawn covered in sand and then it not fully recover before the lawn checks out as far as as far as dormancy goes. So there is that. But yeah, I'm fine with using a sand or a sandy loam mix to do some top dressing in an area that is low where you're trying to improve drainage. How's that for a qualifier to the answer of the question? All right. So next we have Jason Harrison. He says, actually, make sure I don't have any more super chats. Let me run down here really quick and look. I think I saw one pop in. Maybe I am wrong. Nope, we got another one from Luis Ayabarreño. Another super chat. Thank you so much, Luis.
Super chat received.
He says, Ron, I had a raccoon issue earlier due to grubs. Activity ceased after the Accelerprin app. Saw a little raccoon action last night again. How many times per season do you normally apply for grubs? Does it depend on the situation? Thanks. Great question, Luis. I typically apply Accelerprin once per year. Normally late March, early April timeframe, I do it once per year. I am in the minority on that. Most people do it twice. They do it around the same time frame when I do it. Again, March, April timeframe. And again, in late July, early August. So if you want to get another application of Accelerprin down, again, assuming that you overall are going to be under the annual limit, if you applied it how I show in my video, which is at the 0.20 per thousand square foot rate, you still got plenty left as far as your annual limit. So you can do another application now if you wanted to without exceeding that. And yeah, so if you have any concern about grubs or any kind of lawn insects or armyworms or anything like that, it's just not worth it. It's not worth rolling the dice on it. You already have the product. You're still within annual limits to be able to apply it. And again, a lot of people do it. More people apply it twice per year than apply it once per year. So you're not like you're going to be breaking new ground by doing 2 applications of Accelerprin, like one around this time of year. So hope that helps, sir. Yeah, to answer your question, I would if you're concerned about any kind of insect damage, because it's one of these things is once you get rid, let's say you don't do it, right? And then you have armyworms or some other lawn damaging insect in your lawn. They have their way of the lawn gets all chewed up, it's all ugly. And at that point you apply Accelerprin, right? So now the insects are gone, but now what you're left with is a lawn that you got to wait 2-3 weeks, maybe longer, for it to recover from the damage that could have been prevented by simply doing an application of Accelerprin. So if you have any concern, I would do it. I wouldn't, it's not worth it, in my opinion, to roll the dice on that one, especially with your lawn, man. You put so much work into it. It's looking really good. Like, why take a chance of it getting messed up because you just didn't do another app. All right, next up we have, actually, let me scroll back up and find out where I left off. I'm going to put some Tango Bolero on for LG while I take a sip of my lemonade. Ask you guys to please hit the like button. It's a free way to support the channel. And while I look for the next question and or comment. Man, Chick-fil-A makes a really good lemonade. Oh, real, so tasty. All right, here we go. All right, next up is Farouk. Next up, actually, no, is Jason Harrison. He says, don't skip those preventive fungicides. My lawn was ravaged this spring because I was dumb last fall. Dumb is a harsh word. I wouldn't say dumb. You just didn't, you didn't think it was that big of a deal, and you found out that it can be a really big deal. So you're not gonna make that mistake again, right? That's the big thing. With grass, for the most part, there's very few things you can do that can't be fixed with time and or money. Grass, that's definitely true when it comes to turf grass. So whatever, man, you live and you learn. You get your fungicide application down this fall and you won't have to deal with it, or you'll reduce the chances of dealing with it next year. That's what I found, guys. Because I should qualify that, because it's not. Whereas with your spring fungicide apps, I found that's really good for keeping like brown patch, summer patch, like a lot of the a lot of the lawn damaging diseases that you tend to have in the late spring, early summertime. Like I find that's really good about pretty much going to where you don't have that problem at all. When it comes to preventing spring dead spot, what I have found, and we'll see if next year it proves to be true too, is ever since I started doing the fall apps, so the October, November preventative fungicide applications, every year the area that I get spring dead spot has come back smaller and smaller and smaller. So we'll see if next year is going to be an even smaller area, or maybe not at all. Maybe not at all. It could be that. So, but yeah, preventive fungicides are a great idea, especially if your lawn has any kind of a history of disease like spring dead spot, because once you see it, not a whole lot you can do about it. You just have to kind of wait it out. Next up is Farak02 says, hello, do you know why MSMA was banned for residential lawns? I'm in a Facebook group and they all talk about it to kill Dallas grass. Yeah, I don't know why it was banned. I don't know the actual reason why. EPA just said no more. You can't use it on residential lawns. I don't know the reason behind it. I know it is not labeled for use on residential lawns, so you really shouldn't use it. And yeah, that's about the extent of it. I mean, it doesn't really matter why it was banned. The fact is it's banned. You can't. It's not like if you agree or disagree with the reason, I'm gonna whatever. I'm still gonna use it. You're not supposed to use it on residential lawns. So. But yeah, as far as a way to control Dallas grass, it is a selective herbicide that is effective against Dallas grass, but it's neither here nor there because can't use it. All right, next up is Kevin D. Jones. He says, "We don't cry for Texas. Go Dogs. I mean it." Yeah, it's funny. You say that. I don't think, here's the thing. I think the hatred between, and hatred is a strong term. I think the dislike, the disdain between Georgia and Texas is not as bad as between Georgia and Alabama. I think that is a much worse rivalry. Here's how bad it is. Like I had I'm actually not going to repeat what he said because it's actually fairly horrible. But I'll put it this way: people that are against Alabama are really against Alabama. Because I'm not gonna go there because whatever it was. I mean, it was funny. It was a funny joke, but some people are going to take it the wrong way, so I'm not going to repeat it. But yeah, I don't think Georgia, Texas is really the rivalry. I think Georgia, Florida, Georgia, Alabama. Yes, I think probably Georgia, Florida is probably a really bad rivalry. Alabama's just really because everyone wants to beat them because they've been winning. They've won so much over the years that everyone just wants to knock them down, right? So but that's okay. Right now, we the champs. Woo! We'll see if we can run it back again. It'd be a three-peat, right? Who knows? You never know. Could happen. Could happen. All right, next up is Soupy. He says, I made a mistake not scarifying this year. The turf is so thick, I cannot cut it well with the Greensmaster 1000. The roller is floating. That can happen this time of year, Soupy. So your options are, I mean, you can live with it. You can raise the height of cut a little bit. You can try doing that. I mean, with the Greensmaster, you don't have a huge height of cut, a huge adjustment range, but you can try bumping it up a little bit. You could do a light. You could take a little bit off to try and get some of the debris out of the lawn, or just just live with it. We don't have that much time left in the season. We are coming up on September here soon, so we got another solid 2 months of cutting at least, right? So it's up to you whether or not you want to take the chance of taking a little bit off, not a full scalp, but taking a little bit off, get that material out, and see if that helps restore the awesome cut that the Greensmaster can produce, or you just live with it. Just deal with it for for the time that we have left in this mowing season. Next up is Andrew Phillips. He says, I haven't seen rain in Texas for close to 60 days. Be grateful for 7 days. See, so I was telling you, man. You said, oh, we're dealing with a 7-day drought. I'm putting foreplay down. We got to sit out here and, everyone make sure, get out and pray and make sure we can get through the 7-day drought. Texas is not trying to hear that. They're like, whatever, man. They're like, kick rocks. You guys, 7 days. I got your 7 days. Moondoggy says, you skipped Jonathan Dawes' question. I don't think I did. I think I may have jumped around, but I believe I went back up and got it. I don't think I skipped Jonathan's question. If I did, Jonathan, I apologize. Let me think here. No, I think, I got it. The question about pre-emergent and timing. I think I got it. I think I did get it, Moondoggy. I just jump back and forth whenever someone has a super chat, so I I think I do have his question. All right, next up is Levendi. He says, hey, Ron, are you still doing cyber or doing the lawn care stuff full time? I still do cyber. I still try to prevent bad people from doing bad things. So yeah, still, all I do is work all the time, believe it or not. Like the last vacation I've taken was in 2019. I went to Denver for 24 hours earlier this year for like a family event that I had to go for. But outside of that, last time I was on vacation was in 2019. So think about that. So all I really do is work, but I love it. I like it. I mean, I say all I do is work, but it's kind of tongue in cheek. So I really like working. I'm broken that way. I like what I do. So next up is Jason Harrison. He is up with a question where he says, I have a large amount of frogs. They're beginning to burrow. Know of any deterrents? That's a tough one. And I've never heard of that one before, Jason. As much as I appreciate the aeration, I don't appreciate the holes or potential of snakes. I got to screenshot that one, Jason. I don't know, man. That's a tough one. I don't know. I'm sure there are deterrents for frogs, but I don't know what they would be. You got me. I'm stumped on that one, man. I don't know that to answer that one. Huh. Yep, I don't know. I'm sure there are deterrents. They probably have some natural predators too. I don't know what eats frogs. But yeah, I'm not sure on that one, man. I'll have to get back to you. We'll take this one up in the group, in the private Facebook group. Make sure if you haven't as yet, Jason, post to the Golf Course Lawn Academy, like you're in the private Facebook group. See if anyone else in there has any ideas on it. And if you put it there, I will definitely not forget it because I'll see it whenever I go in there to check on and see what everyone's up to. So if you don't mind, like repost this question in the private Facebook group as well. All right, Isaac Momperous is up next. He says, Ron, lights are smashed. Is there a pre-emergent that has a different mode of action than prodiamine that is good for cool season lawns like mine in Jersey? Yeah, there's several. So another popular pre-emergent, Isaac, is one that's called dithiopyr or dithiopyr, depending on how you want to pronounce it. So I'll show you real quick. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and go to Weed Killer and then go to pre-emergent, you'll see that we have 3 options for prodiamine. A granular and then 2 water dispersible granule options. Then you have dithiopyr, which we only carry in a granular form. So this is another option that you can use on your warm season lawn if you like, that if you want to use something that's different to prodiamine. The nice thing about dithiopyr, for the fall, not so much, but really for a spring pre-emergent, is that dithiopyr has control against young crabgrass. If you have some young crabgrass in your lawn and you put down dithiopyr, it has the ability to kill young crabgrass. That's kind of a bonus. But if you're looking to switch up from prodiamine, dithiopyr is also a good option that will not break the bank. So hope that helps. It is available in liquid as well. We don't carry it in liquid, but if you there's places online you can also always find it if you want to go the liquid route. If you want to go granular, we have it here on the Golf Course Lawn Store. So see at Isaac Momperous. There you go. So you can find it there. And again, dithiopyr also does come in a liquid. Look for it under the name Dimension is what it'll be called. Actually, I might be able to get you a link to that. I think I do. Maybe I do, Isaac. Let's see. Let us see. I think I do, but I'll have to dig it out for you if you'll bear with me while I'm finding other questions here. While I'm filling other questions, I'll see if I can find it. But yeah, that link that is posted there, that's where you can find the granular options, prodiamine or dithiopyr. Either one of those will work well on your lawn. Isaac M. All right, 2044. Cool, man. Yep, great question. And that's a good idea, man. It's a good idea to mix up to alternate on your pre-emergent if you can. You know what I mean? I tend to do prodiamine or dithiopyr in the springtime and then spectacle in the fall. I've done different things. If you guys have followed the channel, you guys know in the past too, I've done like poor man's spectacle, which is prodiamine, simazine, and amazaquin. So prodiamine, so Barricade, Princep, and Image, if you're using all the brand name stuff. And that produced pretty good results as well too. Didn't last quite as long as Spectacle did, but as far as controlling POA in warm season lawns, pretty good. Not bad. Not bad at all. All right, I'm trying to find this link for you, Isaac, for the dimension in in liquid form in case you want to go that route. I think I just called it dithiopyr liquid. That's actually exactly what I did. All right, so yeah, so this link, if you want dimension, is what you're gonna want to use. All right, there you go, and there you go, all covered. Cool, good stuff. All right, next up we have Moondoggy. Awesome name. He says, we are having a tropical storm come to California. Nervous. Yeah, isn't it Hillary? Hillary or whatever it is. I think it's going up the West Coast. Starting in Mexico, it's going to work its way up to California. Hopefully you guys, it's going to be not like a non-event by the time it gets to you guys. But yeah, man, fingers crossed it all goes well, Moondoggy. That you guys don't get run over too badly by the hurricane, by the tropical event that's coming through. Think of all the free rain, though. That's pretty awesome, right? It's always a good thing. All right, next up is Parmarita. It says, I'm doing a full renovation in my side yard. Does the glyphosate lose its punch? I did my second application to get the weeds that came back, but it doesn't seem to be working on my 1 gallon sprayer. I've not heard of that. I mean, there are some plants that glyphosate isn't as, it's not as effective against, but I mean, as far as it not working, glyphosate kills more stuff than it doesn't kill. You know what I mean? So if it's growing in your lawn, it should do a pretty good job. So when you say it's losing its punch, are you saying that it's just you're not seeing, it's not, whatever you're spraying is not dying off, or what is it that you're what are the issues that you're seeing? One thing that could be a problem is if, I'm trying to think here, if the plant is like if you use something like glyphosate with like diaquat, which really burns down the leaf really quickly, that can negatively impact like a second glyphosate application, because you don't really have the leaf there available to be able to take it up to take in the herbicide. Like that's the only thing I could think about. But glyphosate by itself really shouldn't lose effectiveness. I mean, I've not heard of it not that subsequent apps being less effective than the first. So I would check your rates, Parmarita. If your rates are correct, you're spraying it properly, it should work. You know, you just give it time, and it should produce the result. You know, so yeah. I mean, without having more details, I'm not sure why it would be less effective this in subsequent apps than the first time. But other than, again, you don't have any leaf. There's less leaf because you've already killed the plant, right? So there's that. All right, Robert Rainey is up next. He says, I was playing golf last weekend and got to talking with the superintendent, showed him pictures of my lawn, and talked all I was doing. Long story short, I'm doing a ride along soon. Ooh, okay. You gotta, well, you're not gonna be able to film it, but that's cool, man. So he's you made like a lawn friend, a lawn buddy. That's awesome. That's awesome, Robert. Now here's the bad thing about that is it's probably going to result in more gear. You're probably going to go to the shed. He's going to show you some stuff that you didn't know you always needed, and you're just going to have one. That's probably what's going to end up happening. But keep us posted, man. Keep us posted how the ride along goes, and see how that works out. That would be cool. You know, it'd be cool to. I should actually see if I could do that for our local course. It'd be cool to see a day in the life of a greenskeeper, right? Like getting up the course at 5 a.m, whenever it is, they get there and just see see everything they do to get the course ready for the day. That'd be actually pretty cool. There's a lot of courses in this area. I may have to see if one of them will let me do it. They'll be like, you want to wake up early and do what? Why? Stay in bed, man. It's not that special. All right, next up is Alexander Bowles. Having a good time, looks like, which is always fun. Like it. And then next up, Moondoggy says, we are having a tropical storm hit California. Can I put my fertilizer down for my Tiff Tough Bermuda grass? I have not put down anything yet for my sod. Almost a year old. Thanks again. Yeah. Depending on how much rainfall you anticipate getting, but yeah, if you're getting free water, that's always a good time to put down a granular fertilizer. So if you're anticipating an inch and a half of rain, or whatever it happens to be, and your lawn is relatively flat to where you're not going to have an issue with a lot of runoff, then yeah, I would take advantage of the free water. Absolutely no reason to not do that. Moondoggy would not pass on that at all. Robert says he did offer up a job. He's trying to get you to come. Well, you showed you know what you're doing. I mean, here's the thing. You show your prism. You say, hey, I got a prism gauge. I got my John Deere, and you show them, hey, listen, I can also do rotary stuff too. You can look at my aunt's lawn. I'm still working on it. It's a work in progress. Not quite up to the standards of my lawn yet, but it's getting there. Yeah. I mean, and you know why he would offer you a job, Robert, is because you're passionate about it. Because that's the thing you got to realize. Like the skill, not knowing how to do something is that's fixable. So, but if you find someone that's really passionate about something, that's really enjoys it and really wants to learn, like that's like the hard part. Like it's 80% of it is that you can fix like not knowing and skill and you know you can fill in knowledge gaps, but you can't make someone care that just doesn't care. So that's he's probably like you're the guy I've been looking for all my life. So yeah, do the ride along, man. It's gonna be a cool opportunity. You'll probably learn some cool tips and tricks. Next up is James Smith. He says, Ron, sent you an email with soil test results, etc. The lawn was put down in September, October of 2022. Should there be any caution with using pre-emergent this fall? Shouldn't be. It's been a year, so I don't know what kind of grass you have, but even if it's cool season grass, you're at a year now. So yeah, I wouldn't. There should be no problems at all with doing a pre-emergent application this time of year if you want to. I'm looking at your soil. I do have your soil test results. The pictures, I can't get the pictures up, James, because they are. I mean, this is ginormous. What is the size of this? It's a really it's like a 6 megabyte picture. I can't post. It's gonna take too long to load. All right. So, but I do have your soil test results. We can take a peek at that if you want. All right. So from James Smith, here are his my soil test results, and we'll move this up a little bit. Okay. So you need phosphorus, man. You need phosphorus. So you need a little bit of everything, to be completely honest. Your N is low. I mean, so your N and K are, your nitrogen and potassium are low, but really phosphorus is what really needs addressing in your lawn. So, you might even have to go with there's a product called like superphosphate. I think it's a 46% phosphorus product? Let me see if I can find it here. Superphos. Yeah. So, because even like what I would normally recommend is a triple superphosphate. Yeah. So it's 0.460. What I would normally recommend when someone has a phosphorus deficiency would be like our complete fertilizer, the 14-7-14. But given your soil test results, man, you need a little bit more than that. You need like a dedicated phos app to try and get those levels up. And then, you could do like a dedicated phosphorus product, like the triple phosphate, and then use something like this for your general feeding. So this by itself is not going to be enough to raise your phosphorus levels, given how your curve is. Like what I've seen. Let me go back here. What I've seen, James, is if the peaks were different, so let's say your N is low and your phosphorus is higher and your K is low, that is where this is a good choice, right? Because it's 14-7-14, so it assumes you have higher phosphorus than your nitrogen or potassium. But given your levels, I would use something like a triple phosphate to raise your phosphorus levels, and then you could use the 14-7-14. Nice thing about this is it has a set of micronutrient also in it, so that can help address your micronutrient deficiencies that I'm looking at in your soil test results. And yeah, it looks like you could benefit from a Lime app. So you got equipment going on here. It's not not terrible. It's just you just got some work you got to do, right? So what I would say is you're going to want to do a Lime app at some point, because your pH is low. We're going to want to do a phosphorus app, a triple phosphorus. I'll link here for you in the chat, and then you can go with like the complete 14-7-14 for your for a bit of across the board to bring your levels up. So yeah, no worries. And let me tell you, as far as your lime goes, your magnesium is low, so you're going to want to go with a dolomitic lime. So there's multiple types of lime, but there's in the broad categories, there's calcitic and there's dolomitic. And if your magnesium is low, which yours is, you would benefit from going with a dolomitic lime because it has more magnesium in it as a percentage than calcitic lime does. So if you don't mind, James, send me an email, because there's a lot of links to post. So if you don't mind, send me an email to ron@golfcourselawn.com. Send me an email. I might already have your email, but if you don't mind, say, hey, Ron, this is James from the live stream. I got your soil test. Actually, you know what? I already got it, because I got your email right here. So I got this stuff. So here's what I'll do is at the end of the show, I will send you like the cocktail of what I would recommend to help address this. Because And I'm thinking, you sent me an email already. You've already emailed me. I have your email address. That's where the picture in your soil test result came from, right? So yeah, if you don't mind, James, stand by for later on this evening, and I'll get you taken care of as far as what I'd recommend to help address that. So good stuff, good stuff. But to answer your question, no issue with doing pre-emergent this fall because it's been a year already. All right, next up is Anna Duran. No relation to Duran Duran. Says, hi, I want to oversee this fall. The whole process, but I still have weeds to deal with. Should I do it or get rid of the weeds first? I don't know what to do. Why not both? So you can still do both, Anna. You can get rid of the weeds and overseed. The thing that I would say you should not do, or I would recommend against doing, is applying pre-emergent this fall. So if you're trying to overseed and you are like overseeding and pre-emergent are mutually exclusive. You really don't want to do, you want to do both of them because pre-emergent works against the germination that you're trying to get from your overseeding project. So what you can use is like a post-emergent herbicide, like a 3-way, like Tenacity, like Sedgehammer, depending on what you're trying to control. And then you can do your overseed because those herbicides, those post-emergent herbicides are not going to negatively impact the germination that you're going to get from your overseeding. So you can still do both. Just make sure that you're not using pre-emergent if overseeding is your primary goal. If that's what you want, that's what how you're going to pick up the lawn and get it to be more full, then that's fine. But then just realize you're going to have to rely on post-emergent herbicides to control weeds in the fall. So can absolutely work. And in the blog post from last week on control, I do speak to this. I do talk about that. Hey, if you want to overseed, don't use pre-emergent. So if you have not seen that, Anna, I will find it here really quick and send it to you. So if you go to blog and then this guy, I will link that here in the chat for you. And if you don't mind reading over that, it'll give you some good strategies for controlling weeds. Just avoid the pre-emergent aspect of it because you're trying to overseed your lawn. Hope that helps. You say, I'm in Georgia and I'm still seeing Bermuda seed heads. Any idea of how to get rid of them? Wow. Yeah, if you're still seeing Bermuda seed heads this time of year. So what I would say in addition, Andre, is get a soil test done. So the only time, here's the thing, the only lawn I've seen, or the only soil test I've ever seen where someone was still seeing seed heads in their lawn in like the July timeframe. I haven't seen anyone in August, but in July timeframe is whenever they had a nutrient deficiency problem. So he's not in the live stream tonight. Dalvin, he was chasing his tail, was wondering, hey, May's gone, June's gone, the lawn should be acclimated already. He was watering it enough. And I said, hey, listen, man, if you're watering it enough and you're certain everything else is good with the lawn, the next thing is to look at your nutrient levels. And lo and behold, he did the soil test in mid-July, came back, and all his macros were low. So as soon as he corrected that, the issue with seed heads went away. And then this year, when he got seed heads, it was the time of year like how everyone else gets it, right? So that time period between like May, that 2-week period between like late May, early June, that he went through that, and then his lawn was just fine. So if you're still seeing them, Andre, this time of year, I'm going to point to, you probably have some kind of a nutrient deficiency going on, and a soil test kit, like the one I recommend is the one from My Soil because they're really easy to use. Get your results within a week or so is what I would say. Go with one of these to figure out what's going on with your soil. Then we can address the nutrient problem, and then that should help resolve it. As far as the one that I would recommend that you go with, if you go to the golf course lawn store, go to shop, and then go to soil test kits and pH adjustments. There's many options. The one I would say is if you don't have one of these super fancy, highly over-engineered tools for pulling out your soil cores, get the starter pack, which comes with one soil test kit and the probe tool. So you only have to buy this one once, and then in the future, whenever you decide to do your soil test, you can just buy just the individual soil test kits, right? But I mean, this one, if you just buy this, then you have to figure out some way to get your cores. And if you don't have a probe tool like this, it can be kind of messy. So for the first time, I would highly recommend getting the starter pack, get your soil test done, and you'll mail it out. And then within a week or so, you're going to have your results, and then you'll have the answers to the test to know what you should be doing to your lawn to help address the nutrient problems. So hope that helps her, because you really shouldn't be having seed heads in your lawn this time of year in Georgia. That's way too late in the season for that. And then Anna says, I'm in Wyoming, FYI. Yeah, so that's no worries with that, Anna, with your overseeding. So it's, like I said, you have to pick which one is more important to you. If overseeding is your priority, then I would not do pre-emergent. We just realize that by doing that, by not doing pre-emergent, you are going to have to rely on post-emergent herbicides. So by post-emergent herbicides that kill weeds or control weeds after they've emerged, like post-emerging, like after they've emerged from the soil. You have to use that category of herbicides to keep the weeds under control in your lawn while you focus on, feeding the lawn, mowing a lot, making sure you get a really thick stand of grass. Because once you have a really thick lawn that's growing well, that's thriving, that in itself is like natural weed control. You'll still get some weeds here and there, but it's not going to be nearly as bad as whenever you have a lawn that's weak, right? Where it's thin and bare, and you got spots here and there that are wide open. Like a great way to have an amazing lawn it's not heavily reliant on herbicides is to grow a thick and healthy stand of grass, and a lot of that comes from a nutrient program, but also comes from regular mowing. So that's something else to consider as well as you go down this project to, overseed your lawn this fall. So I hope that helps. Keep me posted as far as how it goes. I'm sure you'll be in the live stream next week. You'll be able to keep us, read in as far as how the project develops. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. Keith Madison, he says, thanks, Ron. You are very keen on the missed detail of mowing. I haven't hit it with the mower since the scalp. Tomorrow morning, it gets the stimulation of the spinning blades. Yes, I like it, Keith. So that's the thing I was telling you. I mean, I've done this for a little while now. I'll tell you, I can always tell the emails. When I get the emails from the person and they list off, I've applied this and I've applied this and I've applied this. And then tomorrow I'm planning on applying this. And I've been watering a whole lot. And I'm just reading through the email. I'm like, okay, when are they going to say mowing? When are they going to say mowing? They're not saying mowing. They're not going to say mowing. And I say, it's really good that you're doing all this stuff, but you really also need to mow your grass too. That's really important. So the thing I'd say, Keith, is while you're going through this, make sure your equipment is sharp. So you're going to go out there, you're going to mow tomorrow, make sure your mower is sharp, because that also is going to help speed up recovery. It's going to help the lawn get green faster. You don't want to, it's already been through enough stress. You don't want to be out there cutting it with like some dull equipment and you're tearing up the grass and just, introducing even more stress. So a sharp mower is very important. So if you've not done that, if you haven't checked that in a while, good thing to check. Good stuff. All right. Next up is Kevin D. Jones. He said the prism gauge is the matrix. No, prism gauge is Robert's tool, man. It's actually pretty sweet. I mean, it's a really nice, it's a really cool tool. It's a very handy tool. All right. Next up, we have no one here from the gram. No questions tonight. All right. Next up, we got Dwayne's World Party Time. Excellent. He says, Ron, Dwayne. Yeah, and Robert's just having a good time laughing. So Dwayne, I don't know if you were on the live stream last week, but here's the thing. There is going to be another mower released. I know how you have like a proclivity. That's your thing. How you have a love for mowers. And I've heard from the grapevine that Real Growers is coming out with a new mower. So, if you need yet another one, if you need a backup for your backup in a 26-inch, then I think I know a guy that knows a guy that might be able to get you one. So if you haven't watched it as yet, because I know you're, as far as the guy with real mowers, I don't know anyone else that has, I don't know you personally, but I don't know anyone else. I'm trying to think of anyone on YouTube other than maybe the lawn tools. The lawn tools have a lot of equipment too, but you got a lot of real mowers, man. You might have them on push real mowers, maybe. He says, let's see. He says, happy Friday. Hope you had a great week. This week was not the greatest of all weeks as it could be, but yeah, whatever. Life goes on. We keep moving, but yeah, I'm happy now. It's Friday, hanging out with you guys, talking about grass. Makes me happy. Keith is up next. He says, and yes, my blades Exmark ZT zero turn gets sharpened every 5 hours, no matter what. Kind of crazy about sharp blades. Nice. Okay, cool. So we've got covered all our bases. So you applied Primo, you got a little heavy-handed, you wanted to correct it with a little scalp. We went not too nice on the scalp, we went a little too aggressive on the scalp. That's fine. We're here now, and now just mow it. Mow it, and mow some more. The more you mow it, the more you mow it with sharp equipment, the faster it's going to look better. So that's the thing I would say. All right, Dwayne's rolls up next. He says, hello, Ron. I was thinking about the application method with the carbon kit and curious why it's treated as a foliar versus soil application, being carbon or the nutrients seeming to be more soil-based. You can apply it either way. It can be applied as, if you look at the label, it can be applied as a foliar. It can be applied as a drench. There's tons of different ways of applying the carbon kit. You can do it either way. The reason why I teach applying it the way that I do is I like to stack it along with my micronutrient app. I like to stack it along with Primo Max. You can, and that's why I apply it the way that I do. So you don't have to do it that way. Again, if you look at the label, if you read the label for it, it'll give you rates for drench and several other types of applications. But I just don't do it like that. So because by doing it the way that I do it, it works well in my spoon feeding program, and it allows me to add other products like my micronutrient, like Primo, which is why I do it the way that I do. So good observation. It's a good point. All right, next up, that's Bane. That's right. Thank you, Pomerita. Bane. That's who it was who did the voice. Yeah, it's cool. You adopted the dark. I was born in it. All right, next up is the Unknown Mister. He says, I've walked in 125-degree heat and any wind is straight up hot air. It does not cool you down. Yeah, so I've only experienced that type of heat in Vegas, and it's been a long time since I've been there. Whenever I was going to Black Hat every year, that is, when they say a dry heat, like Vegas does have dry heat, but it's still hot. You still feel like you're being cooked, but it's not like, if it were humid, people would probably be dropping over like flies over there, but it's still not pleasant. I don't find it to be pleasant compared to Georgia. I don't know. I mean, Georgia, you sweat a lot. Vegas, you don't sweat quite as much, but it's just hot. You know what I mean? It's just like, you just feel like you're in an air oven. It just feels just not pleasant. All right, we got Higgy Pop. He says, hey, Ron, happy Friday. Looking for a liquid fertilizer that I can use my liquid iron in between granular fertilizer treatments. Hit the like button. Thank you. So a liquid fertilizer that you can mix with liquid iron and use in between your granular fertilizer treatments, you say. I may have something just for that. So if we go over to shop and then lawn fertilizer, Higgy, I can tell you what I would go with, given that you already have your liquid iron, you already have your micronutrient picked out. I got it, no worries. What I would say is go with Release 901C. This is a good option. So it's a great fertilizer. You're getting 10% carbon along with the other micronutrient package the other biostimulant package that's in 901C mixes well with your micronutrient. Again, I've not found anything that 901C releases or NutriCalc does not work well with. And this is what I would go with. So this is that would be my recommendation. Alternatively, you could do Turfplex, but 901C would be my jam. That's what I've been using on the lawn pretty much for the most part all of this year. I think I've done like one Turfplex app, but for the most part, it's been 90% 901C on my lawn. So yeah, that is what I would go with, Higgy. That would be my recommendation to you. And because I like you and I'm trying to save you some time, I will even post a link to it here in the chat so you can go read the description for yourself, watch the carefully prepared video for yourself, and you can make your decision. But I think you'll be very happy with the results of 901C. Great product. All right, Zach says, sent some added stripe action. I don't know if do I have you, Zach? I don't know if I have you here. Ryan McFarland, Zach, let's see what you got. Ooh, that is clean. Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely, what I would say is, it's definitely a work in progress, man. So if you guys want to have some inspiration, it's a good little sequence here. Thanks for sending this, Zach. Let me see if I can get this on. I can make it work. The picture sizes aren't ginormous, so it should work out. And save there. Cool. All right. So let's look at Zach's lawn I'm going to put them up in stages. So this is where he started, or I'm guessing this is where he started because it's the worst one because there's not really any grass. So that's where he started. That's what he was working with to begin with. And then I believe he was doing some seeding work here, trying to get it established in this picture. So, from that to that is definitely progress. You gotta respect the hustle, respect the grind. And then I'm assuming this is the most recent picture where he's showing some of that clean stripe action. So overall, pretty good, man. I can't hate on that. I mean, to go from that to that and then to that, pretty good. I dig it. Nice work. Appreciate it. Appreciate you sending the pictures. Looks really good. I do like it. I like to see lawn renovation projects. All right, next up is Oliver Ridham. He says, if this is a classroom setting, Ron is the instructor and Robert Rainey is that overachiever student, we all strive to be like him. He is. Here's the thing, you understand. When Robert sends pictures in, like you guys will just send me pictures, right? you all just send like a picture and I got to sort them and forgot. No, Robert sends a picture and it's already pre-framed. So it'll be a picture, and in one picture, one corner will be like the lawn, and then another picture will be like another corner will be like what he cut, and another picture will be like, hey, here's how to cut on the prism gauge, and another picture will be like the dog on the lawn to show off. I mean, he even organizes it. He doesn't want there to be any question as far as how the information is supposed to be presented. That's how he is. So, I mean, just very, very detail oriented kind of guy. Yes, but yeah, he's a good guy. I'm just messing with you, Robert. So please don't take the fact that I'm just giving you some ribbing personally. I'm just it's all in love and just in fun. And yeah, it looks like he's enjoying it too. All right, so Andre Taylor is up next. He says, newbie here, is cutting Bermuda at 1 inch with a rotary mower still considered scalping? For most people, it is going to be, Andre, because unless your lawn is already smooth, most rotaries are not going to be able to cut at 1 inch without some kind of scalping to the lawn, because any kind of a dip, any kind of an uneven, low spot that you run over with any of the four wheels is gonna make those blades catch and take a big chunk of the turf out. So I'm not saying it's not possible, but most people are not able to cut Bermuda at 1 inch without scalping unless they've done some type of leveling, or your lawn just happens to be abnormally smooth. I mean, that's a possibility as well too. So it's really your call as far as if you want to do that. Most people will scalp at 1 inch with a rotary and then bring the height of cut up to 1.5 inches. Maybe if you're feeling froggy, 1.25 inches, but like 1.5 inches is where most people with rotary mowers tend to run the Bermuda lawns. And that's for like the lower, like on the low end for rotary. And again, to go much lower than that, you're gonna want to start getting into some kind of leveling work to ensure that you're not scalping the lawn, because it's not hard to do with a rotary mower at 1 inch. Not hard to do at all. All right, next up we have Chris Wish. I think this is new. I think this is someone new. I've not seen your name before, Chris. He says, Chris Wish is up next. He says, dude, I found 3 bags of BioSpectrum that that fell off a lawn truck. What should I do with it if you do that thing? Can I put it on my fruit trees soil to boost production and livelihood? Yes. Yeah, you can use BioSpectrum on anything you want. You can use it in that case, you would use it in a drench. You can use it in a drench around fruit trees. You can use it anywhere you want to. It's microbial food. It's all about improving like the engine that breaks down fertilizer, breaks down organic material, and makes those nutrients available to whatever plant you happen to be growing. So yeah, there's no issues with that at all, using BioSpectrum in that regard. 3 bags, huh? So you've got, if it's 3 of the big bags, that's 12 acres worth of BioSpectrum. You got quite a bit. Okay, next up is Mark Luna. He says, good evening, Ron. And you know what, Chris, that's a good one. I think for that question, for the 3 bags of BioSpectrum that fell off the truck, what should you do? What can you do with it to boost fruit tree production? So for that question, you will be our Miramichi question of the evening. I don't think I have the shirt here. I don't know what I did with it. Where's the shirt? Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So if you like free stuff and you like free t-shirts, you can get one of these guys. It is go to this camera. It is the Greatness from the Ground Up shirt from Miramichi Green. It's pretty clean. It's got a mower in it, which, I happen to love. And it's actually a good shirt, a good quality shirt. And if you like t-shirts and you want a free one, you can be the Miramichi question of the evening. All you have to do to claim your prize is to send me an email to ron@golfcourselawn.com. And I will respond with saying, hey, Chris, here is how you get your free t-shirt. And let me make a screenshot of that so I remember who I gave it to, and we will be good to go. Chris Wish, and then MGQ of evening. Cool. Yeah, good stuff. But yeah, you can absolutely use it that way. No worries at all. All right, next up is Mark Luna. He says, good evening, Ron. We are under water restrictions now in Austin. Can only water on Thursdays. Yard is still green, but can see some areas that need love. Tuned in late, hit that like button, fam. So are you prohibited from using any kind of watering at all? Like even hand watering, you can't even do that, Mark? Or is it irrigation only that can be run on Thursdays? Because if you can hand water, then maybe you can just spot water those areas that are struggling a little bit. You could consider doing that. But if it's only, any kind of watering, any kind of irrigation at all, only 1 day a week, then you just gotta stick with that, right? The good news is that you should be on the tail end of all this high temperature to where the lawn should recover here fairly soon if you have some areas that are struggling from the temperatures. So stay the course, man. It will get better. It'll get better. Next up is Michael Cahoon. He says, I was wondering if you do anything different with your vanity strip as opposed to the rest of your lawn. Nope, not really. It's the same thing. It gets cut. Let me think. Nope, it gets the same. It gets Primo. It gets the same fertilizer. It gets the same as everything else in the lawn. Nothing special about the vanity strip. It gets the same treatment as the rest of the lawn. Same. And then next, Steve Jackson says, I was reading the label for Spectacle Flow and noticed that you have to wait 30 days after verticutting before applying it. Appreciate the show and your expertise. I appreciate that, Steve. It's good stuff. So again, my last verticut is the one that I just did is going to be the July to August one. So I'm good to go as far as any kind of pre-emergent this here in the next couple of weeks or so. So yeah. I mean, the lawn it's already slowed down a little bit as far as how quickly it's growing, which is good. So there shouldn't be any need to really verticut it. At this point, all I'll just do is turf raking. I'll just do turf rake here and there to keep the stripes nice and clean, keep the color nice, keep the debris out of it. But yeah, no need to, I do not see the need to verticut at the end of August in my lawn. If you're in Florida, maybe you would, but for me in Georgia, I don't see the need to do that. McNasty Motorsports is up next. He says, sent you another photo. Don't mind the dog spots. The dogs tend to over-apply N when they're out doing work. Well, why don't you train the dogs, McNasty? Man, you seem like a really detailed-oriented guy. How come you don't have the dogs trained to not go in you have like a designated area? You got to have like a sacrificial area. I'm just saying. I mean, normally you're a detail guy. Man, it looks pretty good though. I mean, yeah, you're right. Dog toilet spots aside, that does look pretty good. I have to hand it to you. Color looks pretty good. You can barely make them out. There's only a few here and there. Overall, that looks clean, man. Nice. I like it. I like it a lot. Good stuff. Our next question and or comment is from No Name. He says, hey, Ron, I have an area that I'm working to improve, and I can see what appears to be some algae growth. There's no watering done in that area. Any thoughts on how to control this? Is the area, so No Name, the area that you have the algae, is it like heavily shaded? You said there's no watering done, so there's not like a drainage problem that's causing it. I'm trying to think of what else you could. I mean, what some people will do is you can take like Dawn, like some dish soap, a few ounces of Dawn, and some a bucket of water, and pour that on it. But I mean, it'd be interesting to know why you're having the problem. Why you're having an issue in that particular area. Are you saying that is it always been that way, like all season you've had this, or is it something that's just happened in? I mean, we've had a couple of pretty heavy rain showers here in the past week or so, but I mean, it'd be interesting to get some more context around if the algae is always been there, has it always been there all season, or if it's a new thing. And if you can send me a picture of it, that would be great too. So you got my email address. You have that other way to contact me too if you want. Feel free to use that if you want to send me pictures of what you're dealing with, and so I can get you a better answer, because I wouldn't think if you don't have a drainage problem or you're doing excessive watering that you would have problems with moss or algae this time of year. So a picture would be useful. James Kelly, he says, I think warm season is much easier. You guys get all the cool herbicides. I agree with that. From a perspective of being able to control weeds, I think that warm season grass, in my opinion, has the advantage. I think so. I think from a standpoint of color and stripes, cool season grass looks incredible, man. Like a cool season lawn looks like the color is just really, really nice. I mean, zoysia looks good too. Bermuda looks really good, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, even like my lawn, right? You guys would look at this and say, hey, that looks pretty good, right? The color in that looks decent, but that's like cool season grass on a bad day, like on a really bad day. You know what I mean? Like a ryegrass lawn would like absolutely slay that as far as like just the depth of color, right? So I think from a color standpoint, it's tough to beat cool season grass, but yeah, I think from a standpoint of herbicide options, we have the advantage, particularly when it comes to POA. All right. Robert Rainey says, "Oh, geez, guys, I'm realizing it. I'm that guy. It's like the Progressive commercial. Mission to save you from turning into your parents." It's okay, Robert, man. You help keep lawn care cool. It's cool, man. You just show that we are not like a bunch of grass nerds. We got equipment. We got specialty equipment. There's a lot to this. You show that there's a lot of science and a lot of a lot goes into maintaining an incredible lawn. So you make lawn care cool. You should get a T-shirt that says that I make lawn care cool. Or I'm that lawn guy. That's your shirt. You have earned the right to wear that shirt. All right. Let's see here. Dylan Miller says, "Hey Ron, what do you think about liquid aeration? Bermuda lawn dominators seem that this is the way." I mean, everyone's entitled to their opinion, man. I mean, I can give you my thoughts on liquid aeration versus hollow tine aeration. I think that both have their merits. All right. So the benefit from a standpoint of relieving compaction, in my opinion, like liquid aeration doesn't hold a candle in the slightest to soil core to core aeration with an actual aerator. Reason being is that you are physically removing plugs of soil throughout the lawn, which gives the lawn an area to relax into, right? So from a standpoint of just relieving compaction, fast tracking water, nutrients, air into the soil, because again, you've literally got voids, you've got holes all throughout the lawn. I think there's a huge advantage to doing core aeration. If it's me, I would do both of them. Like there's no reason why you couldn't core aerate your lawn, and if you wanted to on the same day, you could use whatever liquid aeration product that you wanted to. I mean, technically you look at like the carbon kit, like the kelp product that's in it, and then also biospectrum. You can market that. It could be technically marketed as a liquid aeration type product. It stimulates microbial activity, which helps break down thatch and helps it just it can be used that way. But that term in many ways I think is oversold for what it is compared to what core aeration provides. And if you want to kind of have like a tiebreaker, right, as far as core aeration versus liquid aeration products, if you look at what the professional turf industry does, if you look at what like golf courses do, they do not rely on liquid aeration for their greens. They use core aeration. They'll use like solid tine. They also use core aeration where they pull plugs out. They do that. Believe me, if they could get by with just using a product like a liquid product they just spray the greens with, and they would get the same results from like a standpoint of relieving compaction, and from a standpoint of also another advantage too, and this is another reason why core aeration is also, in my opinion, superior, is if you're top dressing, the ability to integrate whatever top dressing material you're using. So if you're using sand, integrating that into the soil profile to help reduce thatch, right? To help change the soil profile. Core aeration helps facilitate that better than liquid aeration. So it really, in my opinion, you're comparing two things that really aren't even remotely the same. Like it's not either or. You really could do both of them. Like you could do core aeration and then use whatever liquid aeration product you wanted to. So for a good example, I could core aerate my lawn and I could follow that up with a carbon kit, and that would be absolutely fine. But one does not replace the other. Like one is not the same as the other. Because if liquid aeration were as effective as core aeration, then the professional turf industry would just be doing that, because they wouldn't have all the headaches that go with core aeration. They wouldn't have to have all this heavy, super expensive and heavy equipment. They wouldn't have to have the downtime that goes with core aeration. But the reason why they do it is because it offers advantages that nothing else really does. So I don't know. Again, I'm familiar with that group on Facebook. I don't know. I'm sure there's people that are for it and against it, and I don't know what the context of what you're saying is, because there's a lot of people in that group that I've seen that are fans of aerating their lawn. They use core aerators all the time. So it may be one or two people that are strongly in the you only need to liquid aerate your lawn category, but I respectfully disagree. So for whatever that's worth. All right, next up is Fernando He says, "Hey Ron, I made a mistake last week and I applied Celsius." Okay, so you use 0.226 with 1 gallon of water versus 2 gallons of water. Okay, so you made a more concentrated blend. How much area did you spray it over, Fernando? Did you spray it over 2,000 square feet? Because if you sprayed over 2,000 square feet, yes, while being more concentrated, I mean that's and not great. That would be you still put the correct amount of active ingredient over the right square footage. Now, if you told me that you sprayed that rate over 1,000 square feet or use it for spot spraying, then you definitely went heavy-handed. And what you might find is you might get a bit of discoloration, and it'll be temporary. And the lawn is unlikely that you did anything that's going to permanently injure the grass. But going forward, just know that if you're using one of these packets, one of these guys, it's 1 packet, 2 gallons of water. And then if you're really a boss, put a little bit of surfactant in there, and that's all you need to produce a great result for controlling broadleaf weeds in warm season turf. Other than Bahia grass. Don't use it on Bahia grass, but everything else other than Bahia grass for warm season turf, good to go. Next up is Robert Rainey. He says the zoysia is being mowed with a 21-inch Honda. Nice. Cool. Looks good, man. I gotta tell you, it's solid. That color, if you guys want to see some really well-maintained zoysia grass, that looks fire, man. Really nice. I like the double wides as well. Looking good. Very clean. Nicely done. Nice scene too. Your aunt's got a nice property. Very nice property. Very, very cool. Fernando follows up next. He says, the grass is a little yellow. Do you think it'll recover? Yes, it'll recover. It'll bounce. It'll be just fine. It'll be a little yellow and it will come back. But yeah, so going forward though, you know what you did. You made the mistake. It happens. Everyone, I say everyone does it, but it can absolutely be done. No worries. But going forward, we know it's one of these with 2 gallons of water. That's on the high end. You can even use one of these with 4 gallons of water. That's a little bit more diluted, but definitely 1.226 ounces of Celsius with 1 gallon of water. It's a bit too much. It's a bit, that's too concentrated. It's a bit, you're overdoing it. And you don't have to get a good result. That's the thing. You're not really buying yourself anything by going off label or going heavy on the rates. Only thing you're going to get is that you're going to discolor your lawn in the process. But to answer your question, yes, it will bounce back. All right, so we got a super chat here, one from Fernando. Thank you so much, Fernando. I really appreciate it.
Super chat received.
He says, thank you. It's from spot application. Yeah, so even with spot application, 1 gallon, you went a little bit heavy-handed, but it will bounce back. It'll be okay. But just going forward, I would not do that. I wouldn't do that again. C-Pims is up next. He says, Ron, since you said you enjoy doing hedges so much, I sent you a video over Instagram that might give you confidence and motivation to do it. Cool. I'll have to check it out after the live stream's over because I can't get on Instagram while I'm live streaming it. But yeah, hedges, here's the thing. I don't mind. I like the way a well manicured lawn looks, and like hedges that are well manicured. I think it's a great appearance. I just don't like doing it because it's such a pain in the butt. You gotta, it's not so much the trimming of the hedges. It's all the cleanup work when you're done is what I don't like. So there's that. All right, James Smith. He says, without any jokes, should you do anything for a small patch of mushrooms? Approximately 5 to 6 small mushroom heads. I wouldn't, James. So what you can do if you want to reduce mushrooms in your lawn, because the question that I've gotten this time of year and also over the summer, is if you reduce the thatch levels in your lawns, that will reduce how much mushrooms that you see in your lawn that pop up in the early morning hours. The long short of it is I really wouldn't worry about it. There's nothing wrong with your lawn. You don't have to go out and apply anything or do anything about it. If you want to, mow over them or kick them over or simply wait till it gets hot, like 10 o'clock in the morning when it gets to be mid-morning, when it starts to get a bit more temperature, they tend to fall over. It's not a negative other than you may not like how they look. The thing that I have done that has gotten rid of or has prevented mushrooms from being a thing in my lawn, and it's not really the reason why I do it, it was just kind of a side effect, a side benefit, is turf raking. So by really managing the amount of debris that goes into the lawn, whether it be from clippings and just managing thatch levels with turf raking and verticutting, that has done a lot to where I haven't had, I'm trying to think, I've not had a single mushroom in my back lawn all year, all season long. Whereas in previous years, it would be a thing every morning. The morning you wake up, there'd be a few in a couple of spots here and there. 10 o'clock in the morning, they'd be gone, or I'd run over them with a mower whenever I went out and did that. But it's nothing to worry about. So long short is I wouldn't worry about it. It's not that big a deal. No issue. And then James Auburn says, does Auburn University stands for Alabama beats us rednecks? No, I mean, Auburn, I don't know. Auburn really, they're okay, but they're not as good as like the Crimson. I mean, here's the thing. I am not a huge like Alabama fan, but you gotta hand it to them. I mean, they are really good at football. You You gotta give it to them what it's worth. Where you gotta give credit's due. They don't have an NFL team, so they like all the like. It's funny that Alabama doesn't have an NFL team, but I mean, if they like because they don't have that, like college football is everything. And even here in Georgia, like we don't really have an NFL. I mean, we kind of have one NFL team, but like even in Georgia, the Bulldogs are probably more popular than the Falcons are, right? So. All right, next up is James. He says, "Is the Lawn Course Academy just a Facebook solution? Do you have any faceless that take part in the academy?" No. So the Golfers Course Lawn Academy, the actual training is a set of videos. There's over 20 of them because I added some last year to it. There's a set of training in there on different topics on mowing, on soil, on like pretty much it breaks down what every single nutrient in your soil, what it does, why it's important, how they interact with each other, and why soil testing is really important, why you should do it. On herbicides, on using a backpack sprayer, on using backpack sprayers properly, on spray tip selection. A lot of what's in the training content, if you watched like tons and like pretty much all my YouTube content, which I mean, you'd have a pretty hard time doing that, you would get a lot of what's in the academy. Not all of it, because there's some stuff that's in there that I haven't put on YouTube because it would literally get no views, because it's only people that are really like serious lawn care nerds like Robert that love that kind of stuff that would not really care about it. Like the general person is not going to care about some of the stuff that we cover that's in the Golf Course Lawn Academy. So there is the training that's in there. There's a set of videos. There's a annual calendar with application rates for different products that I recommend that you use over the course of the season. So you get a calendar, you get the training, you get there's a small recurring discount that runs on some products within the Golf Course Lawn Store. So in some ways, the course is a way for paying it for itself. And then finally, you also have access to the private Facebook group, which is only for Academy members. So people sometimes apply to it and they try to come in there, but you have to be a member of the Academy to be able to be in that Facebook group. There's a great set of guys and gals that are in there that are, imagine like Robert. I mean, Robert's probably like the cheerleader. I mean, there's only a couple of Roberts in there, but I mean, they're people of varying levels of their lawn care journey. And we have some people that are in there that are international, that are from other parts of the world that are in there, that are just trying to get the best lawn and just want like good advice and just want to have people to bounce ideas off of. So that's as far as the core aspects of it: the training, the calendar. There's a small discount, recurring discount for Academy members only on the store. And then there is the private Facebook group, which is really cool. I think it's a really cool community. No drama. That's one rule we keep it drama free. And yeah, so yeah, that's, if you want to know more about it, I can show you real quick here. If you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store and you go to Lawn Academy and you go to course details, there's a video here that talks about what to expect, right? Talks to you all about it. You scroll down some more, it tells you like what videos you get, the different topics, the course curriculum, like what you can, like what the email you're going to get as far as confirmation goes. I mean, when you pay for it, it's like a one-time thing. So you buy it once and you own it forever. So whenever I add more material to it, you don't pay any extra for that. It just gets rolled into it. Eventually it may go to a subscription, but anyone that's in there now is, again, you're grandfathered in. Anyone that's in is in, and whatever the agreement was whenever you joined, that's gonna remain true for you in perpetuity. As long as the internet's a thing and I'm still around, you'll have access to it. So there you go. Next up is Mark Romano. He says, crocodiles eat frogs. Well, that's really cool. That's helpful, Mark. So we're trading one problem for arguably a way bigger problem. Plus, I don't think you can have crocodiles as a pet? I don't think you can you? Even if you could, I don't know if that's probably a bad idea. Not a great way to have that's going to generate a letter from the House Association if you try and have an alligator or crocodile for as a pet. Would recommend against it. Moon Doggy is up next. He says, try a 5-year drought in California. You did catch Jonathan Dow's question. Sorry, we can't add our questions, and if we delete them, you still see them. So here's what it is. Just trying to help. And no problems, Moon Doggy. I appreciate it, man, because there's times when I actually do forget and I miss people's questions. Like last week, when towards the end of the show, I went to get a couple of super chats, and as I was scrolling back up, I missed like probably 4 or 5 people that asked questions, and I felt really bad about it. Thankfully, they stuck around, and I was able to catch it. But yeah, it happens. It's not intentional, I promise. Davion Bethel says, Is it bad to water your lawn more than 1 inch per week? Not necessarily. No, it depends on a couple of things. It depends on your grass type. So some grass types, like cool season grass, needs more than 1 inch of water per week. If you have like a fescue lawn, especially in the summertime, you got to put more than 1 inch of water on it per week for it to do well. Even a Bermuda lawn, in the middle of summer, depending on a lot of factors, depending on how healthy the grass is and what kind of soil you have, whether you're using a moisture manager or not, whether you're using growth regulator, all those like various factors add up to how much water the lawn is going to need. The idea or the guidance of 1 inch of water per week is just that, it's guidance. I would use that as the base for warm season grass and then adjust up or down as need be. So in the springtime, even though people say, 1 inch of water per week on your lawn, in the spring in Georgia, you really don't need to water at all because we get rain so frequently. In the summer, that inch may need to be 1.5 inches. You may need to go up, an irrigation a bit more to get enough water on the lawn. And the lawn will tell you, the lawn will tell you. I mean, if you walk on it, and you walk on it and you leave footprints in the grass, and it, like, you can tell the grass is dry because it gets crunchy, like it loses like that springiness to it, to where you can walk on the lawn and then you go and you get off of it and then you look at the lawn like 20-30 minutes later and your footprints are still very apparent, almost like what happens on dormant grass if it never gets any water. Then that's a sign you need to put some water on the lawn. So use the 1 inch rule of 1 inch of water per week as a guideline. And for cool season grass, that's likely not going to be enough. And for warm season grass in the summertime, that's also likely not going to be enough unless you're doing a lot of other things like moisture managers and your growth regulator. You're just doing a lot of other things to where the lawn is getting by with less water. For example, if you're in Texas with 110-degree with triple digit temperatures, 1 inch of water is, it's a good offering, but the lawn would stand to do with more than that. 2 inches is probably more along the lines of what you're going to need to be using in Texas with triple different digit temperatures. But that it gets expensive to do. All right, next up is John Donahue. He says, "LOL. 30 years ago, if you asked me if lawn care will be a hobby, I would have laughed. They're laughing at me now. I have so many questions. Do you have another venue to communicate with you?" Not really, John. I take a few questions via email, but really the live stream is how I interact with folks. And then outside of that, the best way to get a lot of questions answered is to just use the our resources section on the blog. So you've got the YouTube content, which is, there's a pretty big library of that. You have the weekly live streams where you can ask like live questions, and then you have the blog, which is like specific lawn care topics, and then there's also a knowledge base on this. So for someone that's brand new, if you go to resources on the Golf Course Lawn Store and then to knowledge base, for beginners, last week, I think it was last week or the week before that, we launched this, which is a beginner's guide to lawn care. This took a long time to write and to make sure it was written at the appropriate level. I had some people that were not even lawn care people at all read this and make sure it made sense to them, and that I didn't use terms that were over their head to where it became intimidating. So this is a free guide that you can read that talks about, again, benefits of lawn care, choosing the right products, essential lawn care practices like mowing. You see, mowing is the first thing that's mentioned. Choosing the right mower, choosing the right mowing height, 1/3 rule, grass cycling or mulching. How often should you mow your lawn? Watering and irrigation. Like, all this is in here. A lot of questions that I get that are one-liners that I get in the live stream or that I get via email, those are answered in the blog post and also in knowledge-based articles like this, like fertilization and nutrient management. There's a seasonal lawn care calendar. If you want a month-by-month breakdown, right? So you say, hey, yeah, the blog was really nice. What should I be doing month to month? Got you covered there. Again, if you go to resources, then you go to lawn care schedule, and you go to item 5 in the menu, which is the month-by-month breakdown. This will still tell you month by month, starting in March, what should you be doing? If you have warm season grass, scalp your lawn. Then April, what to do. May, what to do. June, what to do. July, August, September, and so on and so forth. One thing you will notice that it's very consistent in every single one of them is consistent mowing. So make sure you are mowing your lawn. That's an important aspect and what brings all this together. So there's tons of resources on the Golf Course Lawn Store that we have, between the knowledge base, the application calendar. Even when it comes to lawn care products, let's say you're trying to figure out, hey, how much products do I need for my lawn? I've read all this stuff. What do I need? We even have a lawn fertilization calculator, where if you go to resources and then lawn fert calculator, and say you've got like a 4,000 square foot lawn, because sure, why not? And it'll ask you what kind of grass do you have? You know, warm season or cool season? Do you want to do liquids? Yes, because they're awesome. If you don't know, you say, what is spoon feeding? It will take you to a blog post that talks all about what spoon feeding is, right? So there's tons of great resources that you can go through. Again, do you need phosphorus or not? But you walk through all of this and it builds out a program for you where it says 1 bag of this fertilizer will be fine. This is the liquids that we would say to go with. This is a growth regulator, is enough for your lawn size. And if you're using granular biostimulants, 1 bag of Essential G will do it. You can use that. You can add it to your cart and you basically build a program that is easy, right? So you got tons of options, tons of free stuff that I put into this. I'm trying to scale this because there's only one of me, right? I can only answer so many questions. I can only, like, I'm on the live stream for, you know, what was supposed to be only like an hour or two each week, but it really turns in like 3 or 4 hours. But I do this each week because I really want to interact with folks and find out what challenges you guys have. But between the live stream and the YouTube content and the blog posts and the knowledge base, like there's like most of what I know is covered in all that stuff. And if you still have a question on top of all that, you can always drop me an email, but just realize that it might be a few days before you get a response, because I do get quite a bit of email on lawn care topics. So hope that helps. I really do appreciate having you though as a viewer, as watching the content. And I'm with you. Like when I was a kid, I hated mowing grass, and now when I grow up to my dad, right? So there you go. There you go. You grow up to be your parents when you get older. Imagine that. All right, Trav Smitty's up next. He says, hey, everyone, any massive news breaks this week? I don't think so. I mean, the big news was like last week with the announcement of the Revolution, the new reel mower from Real Rollers that's coming out. I think they're going to be able to pre-order it here soon. And yeah, this week, not a ton of other ones. The Nutrizolve and Turfplex are back in stock, so yay for that, right? So it's back in stock for how long? Who knows? But if you want, if you like that liquid fertilizer and that that micronutrient, get it while it's in stock. Next up is Gary Ingersoll. He says, newish house, sod over clay. What depth should I take a soil sample for a soil test? So 2 to 4 inches. I mean, this much. I mean, this is the probe tool. So if you take it down to right there on the handle, that's about what, 4 inches there. Man, get my face out of here, thereabouts. So yeah, so between this and that's a good core. That will work from a standpoint of your soil sample. And you're saying I have been taking 2 inches below dark soil. Thanks in advance. Yeah, 2 inches will work. If you can go down a little bit lower, that's fine too, Gary. But yeah, just get one of these probe tools. I mean, you don't have to use this one. There are other ones you can find as well. But something like this is producing getting a good plug out of the soil profile that is representative of what's going on in your soil. So I would it sounds like you're on the right track. All right, so we got a couple of super chats. Let me run down here and grab those really quick. We got one from Mr. Dalvin. Larry, Dalvin, you're here, man. I was talking about you earlier about the seed head problem that you had from a couple of years ago. Thanks for coming to hang out.
Super chat received.
He says, hey, Ron, when do you recommend to cease verticutting? It's still extremely hot and the grass is growing as its normal rate. I am thinking mid-September, considering the temps are fairly high. Thoughts? So for me, Dalvin, I did my last verticut in July, August. So I'm probably not going to verticut again this year. If you wanted to do a light one now, I wouldn't be opposed to that. But if you wanted to wait till, I don't know how to really be verticutting into mid-September, especially if you're in Georgia. You know what I mean? If you want a turf rake all throughout, into September and into October, I'm fine with that. But verticutting, the temperatures are already starting to fall off a little bit. And I wouldn't want you to go out there and do that and then, the lawn just not recover in time. So it's really your call. If you want to do a light one, that's fine. For me, I'm not going to be doing any more verticutting this season. I'll just be turf raking and just mowing the lawn. So hope that helps. Next up, we have, actually, you know what? That's a good question from Mr. Dalvin on verticutting. Cool. All right, next up, we have Cedric G. Thank you so much for the super chat, Cedric. Appreciate you.
Super chat received.
He says, Big Ron, the top dressing project with the dingo and top dresser spreader was a huge success. I decided to wait until the lawn fully recovered before I send pics. I will email you next week. Nice. We'll look out for it, man. Thank you so much, Cedric. Very cool. And I think that based on that, you are now the show's sponsor. I think Luis did 2 super chats, but I think yours is still more than his cumulative total. I believe that's right. If not, let me know and I'll fix it. But there you go. Your name in lights, whatever it means to you. And we will look out for those pictures, man. You're holding out on us. It's been a while, so we're waiting to see how the top dressing project with all the work you put in came out. Very cool. James, the way you send pictures, if you want to, you can email them to ron@golfcourselawn.com. If at all possible, here's the thing, guys, on the topic of pictures. If you're going to send pictures, it is way, way easier. Like you see how I am on the screen, like I'm in landscape. So you have your iPad as example. So portrait, landscape. So if you guys can take pictures like this, it makes it easier for me to put them on there, not have to like zoom in so it fills the frame and I cut stuff out. So if you can take pictures with your phone oriented like this versus like this, it's better for showing it on the show. And then just email them to ron@golfcourselawn.com. What makes it easier for me as well, if you guys want to get like pictures of your lawn or other projects you're working on or issues, if you can send the pictures on Friday, that is better, because if you send them to me midweek, then I've got to remember who sent me pictures, and I may not have already started the folder that I keep running for each week to keep, to have all the pictures organized and that type of thing. So if you can do it on Friday, even Friday morning, that's fine. That increases the likelihood of your pictures are getting shown on the show, because Friday is when I'll carve out some time to do that. So yeah, you can email them here, James, ron@golfcourselawn.com, and that's how you can get your pictures on the show, if you would like. All right, next up we have, actually, you know what? I can't find where I left off, so I'll put some LG music on, take a sip of lemonade. Man, I'm telling you, love that lemonade. I gotta get some more of it. I would get a gallon of it. I gotta get a gallon of it, but man, I gotta get more super chats to be able to afford a gallon of Chick-fil-A lemonade, because they are proud of it. Great lemonade, but man, it's not cheap. Okay, next up is Robert Rainey. He says, at Demir, you and Ron should totally link up one day in a live video. Yeah, it'd be cool. I mean, that'd be a cool one to go see, life in the day in the life of a golf superintendent. Although he'll probably be like, just stand over there, don't touch anything. Don't touch anything. Just look at the dog, just pet the dog, and that's it. Don't touch anything. Because that's his office, man. That's where the man makes his living. I get it. But yeah, and plus he's in Colorado. That'd be a bit of a flight to get out there. All right, next up is James Smith. He says, a thought from hearing the overseeding tonight. What are your thoughts on overseeding a sodded lawn such as tough sod? I've heard you don't want to overseed sod. I've heard it's okay. So are you talking? It depends on what you're talking about. If you have like Bermuda grass, like a lawn like mine, and you want to overseed it in the fall because you want to keep the lawn green year round, like that's a strategy. People tend to do that. They want to put down, they'll overseed the lawn with ryegrass so their lawn stays green during the winter and into the spring, which can work. Can do that? Yes. Is it anything wrong with doing that? Nope, no problem with doing that at all. Like if you look at Augusta National, like when you look at the Masters in April, the reason why why the course looks so awesome, because it's really Bermuda grass that's been overseeded with ryegrass, right? So it's absolutely something you can do. The negatives to doing it is that if you overseed a Bermuda lawn or a zoysia lawn with ryegrass in the springtime, you're going to have to get rid of it. You're going to have to use a selective herbicide like Celsius to get rid of the ryegrass. Otherwise, the Bermuda grass is going to struggle. What will happen is, the Bermuda starting to come out of dormancy, like in the March-April timeframe, if you don't get rid of the ryegrass, you'll go through May and the lawn will be looking like half rye, half Bermuda, and neither of them are going to be looking good. And then June, whenever the ryegrass eventually dies off because of the heat, the Bermuda grass is still not going to be looking very good. So you can do it. The only thing you have to keep in mind is that you have to plan to use a selective herbicide in the springtime. I like Celsius is a good choice for that, because it's pretty easy on warm season grass to get rid of the ryegrass to allow the Bermuda to come out of dormancy and still do well. So if you want to do that, then yes, that's totally a strategy. Now, if you're talking about overseeding from a standpoint of like how cool season folks overseed their lawns as a means of just to fill in bare spots and get the lawn to be thicker, for warm season grass, that's really not necessary. In most cases, if you're trying to take an area that has bare spots in it, or the grass is a little bit thin, the way to do that on a warm season lawn is to pour or just transfer plugs from an area of the lawn that is doing well to an area that is not doing well. Because what that does is it ensures that whatever you that when the grass does grow in that area that was struggling, it's going to match. The thing with like most of the lawns that we have, like you have like your Tiff Tough sod, like Tiffway 419, Tahoma 31, Tiff Tough, those are all available in sod. They're not really available as grass seed. So if you get a Bermuda grass seed, which you're really going to be putting down outside of like Arden 15, which was kind of a I don't know, kind of a mutant kind of thing, they're really improved common Bermudas. So it's unlikely that if you were to go and say you have a bare spot in your Bermuda lawn, right? And you say, you know what, I come from like up north, so I'm gonna do what I did up north. I'm just gonna go get some Bermuda grass seed and throw that on my lawn, and I'm gonna get that to fill in the bare spot. What's gonna happen is if your lawn is like a sod, like a hybrid, is more than likely what you're planting is some kind of improved common that may or may not match, and in more than likely it's not going to match your existing grass. And the problem is that you've just seeded Bermuda, which is incredibly difficult to get rid of. Like once Bermuda is in your lawn, heaven help you. Good luck getting rid of it, right? So for those reasons, if you're talking about overseeding an existing Bermuda lawn with Bermuda grass seed, the answer to that question is almost always no. If you're talking about overseeding a Bermuda lawn in the fall with perennial ryegrass because you want to have a green lawn in the winter, you want to be that guy or that gal, then that can be done. You just have to plan to get rid of it in the springtime using something like Celsius. So hope that helps, James. It's a good question. I like it. All right. Next up, we have another super chat. Oh, James just dropped. James just wants to dethrone Cedric. So thanks so much, James, for the super chat.
Super chat received.
He said, "Here's your Chick-fil-A lemonade bucks." I appreciate it. So that'll buy like, I think last time I checked, Chick-fil-A is like it's $12 for a gallon of their lemonade. But here's the thing: I almost want to say it's worth it. It's really good lemonade. If you've not had it, and I'm not just saying this because again I have no relationship with Chick-fil-A whatsoever. They just make a really good lemonade. Now it's funny. They're kind of like as far as like the fast food industry, people that work at Chick-fil-A, that especially in the kitchen, they kind of they think they're upper crust. So a guy that I work with, actually I used to work, he's not at the company anymore. He used to work in the Chick-fil-A kitchen, and he told me like what goes into making the lemonade. He says every morning. I said, dude, how do you guys make your lemonade so awesome? I said, what do you put in it? He's like, lemons and water and sugar. I said, no, really, what else? Nope, that's it. We just use it's just made fresh every single day. There's a recipe, and that's why it's good, because it's made fresh every day. Like if you see the amount of lemons we use to make lemonade, that's why it comes out the way it does. So yeah. In my opinion, best lemonade. Chicken sandwich, open to debate, but I think from a standpoint of lemonade, they are the bee's knees. Yep, and then you're right, Xavier. You're right. So I have an issue spending $12 a gallon on lemonade, but with 300 on Spectacle Flow, no problem. That's it. It's like $12 a gallon. Someone looked at it, so it's not cheap. But thank you, James. I really appreciate the super chat. Like you're making it to where I can have some Chick-fil-A lemonade in my during the live stream. So I do appreciate all the love and support. I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. And you're right, but yeah, our priorities are totally. It's true, Xavier. Like we are, lawn care people are weird. Like $3,000 reel mower, yeah, no problem. But $12 on lemonade, oh no, I can't do that. I mean that would be irresponsible. Mower, I can absolutely spend that. So it's just. Whatever, it's people like what is this? How does it say? Wherever your heart is, whatever your heart is, that's where your treasures are going to be also. So it depends on whatever you want to, like whatever you put value in, you spend inordinate amount of money in that and don't seem to have any problem with it. So there is that. Okay, so next up we have Randall Lard. He says, just lurking, LOL. Okay, Randall, if you say just lurking, you are by definition not lurking because you just broke your silence. You're not lurking anymore if you say you're lurking, but it's okay. I get it. He says, just lurking, all good here. Have a great show. I appreciate it, Randall. Hopefully your lawn's doing well. Next up is Dwayne. He says, Ron, although not quite fall, have you decided on what ryegrass seed you're going with the new revolution shipping in January? I'm leaning towards overseeding everything, LOL. I don't think I'm going to do it, man. I think I'm going to check it out. Dwayne. I know. I think I'm going to check it out, man. I think I'm not going to do ryegrass. I know I said I was going to do it, but I don't think so. I mean, I'll put it this way. If there's anywhere where I would do it, I would do just the vanity strip in front of the house. Like, just that one area that's isolated from everything else. I could see doing that, but I'm not doing the entire lawn. I know. I'm being a pansy. I know. I can't. I'm not gonna do it. But if you do it, let me know, and make sure you make content on it, because then you'll be the guy. You'll be the guy on YouTube with a Bermuda grass lawn that overseeded with ryegrass, right? There's that. I mean, I still got time if you can change my mind, but I don't think so, man. I don't think I want to do it. I don't know, I got to think about it. I mean, you guys, even when I did the poll, you guys all said not to do it. Like, I did a poll, I think during the summer, and y'all were saying no, don't do it. So even you guys have said no, it's a bad idea. All right, next up is Yamaha Gold. He says, hey, Ron and fellow lawn doctors, I have a neighbor with a Bermuda lawn who recently purchased Primo Max. Would you suggest using Primo this weekend, split up for the first time, or just wait till next season? It's your call. I mean, this late in the season, Yamaha, I'd probably just wait. It's not going to hurt anything to try to do it now if you want to, but really, I'm a fan of doing Primo or introducing Primo into the plant early in the season. So like late April, May timeframe, get it into the grass and just and keep it in it the entire season. I find that produces great results. You know what I mean? Like your chances of tip burn a lot lower, and just the grass just gets acclimated to it. You know what I mean? So it's just, I think it's better to start early in the season, just do it all season long. Is the way that I do. There's nothing wrong with doing it now. I mean, I've gotten email from folks that they started doing Primo in like July, but I find that I mean, why not use it like all season long? You get the benefits then, not just for like a month or two out of the year. You get it all season, and the likelihood of you getting tip burn is less if it's already in the plant earlier in the season and just remains in it all season long, versus if you wait to do it when the lawn is already under stress in the summertime. Next is Travis Smitty. He says, get the likes up, you guys. Ron is awesome. Yeah, guys. So if you guys are enjoying the live stream, I know, it's not necessarily always, I don't always have the answers to the question, but hopefully it's at least fun. And if you guys are enjoying it, definitely hit that like button. It's a free way to support the channel, send good vibes to YouTube, and gets more people to come out and watch the show. It's a great way to send the reach. So if you guys would not mind doing that, I would really appreciate it. Matt the Mailman says, hey, Ron, watching while working out tonight, I hear you talk about double cutting. What is that? Is it mowing twice? Do you do that in the same day? What is the benefit of double cutting? Yes. Okay. So double cutting, I should actually have Robert come in here and just teach a class on this. He could probably teach a master class on double cutting. So double cutting is kind of like what it sounds like. Instead of just mowing in one direction, mowing the entire lawn in one direction, you then choose another direction to mow the lawn in. So let's say, for example, let's take the soil test kit as my lawn, right? So let's say normally I mow it let's say I start in the morning and I mow it like this. Like the first pass would be like stripes this way, right? So I mow the lawn this way. Double cutting would mean, it can be a couple of ways. Some people will go over the same pattern twice. I'm not a fan of doing that. The way I do it is I will cut in this direction, and then I will come back and cut the lawn again in this direction. What that does is it produces a gorgeous appearance, because what you don't realize is even though you cut here and you overlap properly and everything looks good, there's still a few stragglers of grass that don't get cut. And because of grain issues, like because the grass is being laid in one direction, if you come at it 90 degrees from the direction you just cut it, you tend to take a little bit more material off and you get a cleaner cut. So the second cut, so if I do my first one like this cut is not going to produce a whole lot of material, but it does a nice job just really just tightening up the look and gives the lawn a really like a pool table look. The negative to doing that is that it takes twice as long because you're basically mowing the lawn twice and you look like a crazy person. There is that. So, your family's not going to understand it. So there are some challenges with double cutting your lawn, but from an appearance standpoint, it's fire. It looks really good. So I would reserve double cutting for the weekends. Like on my lawn, typically what will happen is I will single cut during the week because I just don't have the time to double cut it. And on the weekend, if I have the extra time, I just feel like you're spending a little bit more time out there, or I'm listening to a good audiobook and I'm like, I want to listen to another chapter. Then I'll just go and I'll double cut in another direction. But I would not do it every single time because it just takes a lot of time to do it. You're doubling the time pretty much, right? But yeah, it does improve the appearance. If you've never done it before, try it out. It looks, the appearance of the lawn looks awesome once you're done with it. So if you look at, like in this mow, I don't think I changed. If you look at the lawn, how it is now. So if I were going to double cut it, say tomorrow, I would cut it, say in this direction, which is lengthwise. And then I would follow it up with cutting it. I don't think I get the camera all the way around, but I would cut it with the stripes going towards the house, right? So you see how there's stripes that way and stripes lengthwise. So you just pick your way. Well, what I'll tell you is this: however, whichever stripes you want to be the most prominent, do those last. So if you want the ones where, like, say, away from the house to be the most prominent ones, I would double cut lengthwise first, and then do the ones where I'm cutting away from the house last, because those are going to be the most prominent stripes. So both you'll be able to see both, but the ones you do last are the ones I find that stand out the most. So whenever I do the front lawn, if I'm double cutting it, I'll cut it lengthwise, and then I'll cut it diagonally to finish up. And the diagonal stripes are the ones that really pop and look really good on the lawn. So I mean, we're getting into like serious lawn care nerd stuff here, Matt. But if you did ask, but try it, you'll like it. It's fun. It's really cool. It gives a good appearance. It just takes twice as long because you're mowing the lawn twice in the same day, and you will get crazy looks from the neighbors. But if you're on this live stream, you probably don't care about that. All right, James is up next. Let's see here. I can give you a status on Vegas after next week. We'll be out there for Vegas next week. I'll be out there for VMware conference, World Conference. Oh, cool. Yeah, man. That's one conference I've never been to. I've always been to Black Hat and DEF CON, and like I've done some stuff for some government conferences, but not I've never done RSA, and I've never done VMware. Never done either of those. All right, next up is Justin Judkins. He's saying, I'm debating on getting a Rolex mower as I'm trying to ball on a budget. I got you, man. Ball on a budget. It's a thing. I hear you. What's your take on 6 blades versus 9 blades? I plan on mowing Bermuda at around 1/2 inch to 3/4 of an inch in San Antonio, Texas. Either one can work. Justin. You will get a better cut. You'll like the quality of cut you're going to get out of the 9 blade versus the 6. So here's the thing, or my take on that question. If you're someone that is very consistent with your mowing, pretty much there's not going to be a time in the entire season where a week and a half or 2 weeks goes by and you don't mow your grass, then you can absolutely go with the 9 blade, right? Because you're going to get a better cut with that than you are with the 6 blade. If you're someone that wants to be able to cut it at higher height, so if you want to cut over an inch and a half, or 1.25 inches, I'm not sure if the Rolex goes that high, but if you want to cut at higher heights, or cut less frequently, that is where the 6 blade works well. If you look at what Toro does for their Greensmasters, they are, I think it's an 8 blade. They offer an 8 blade, an 11 blade, and a 14 blade option. And the 8 blade is probably the best all around when it comes to a blade count for a real mower, because, for the height of cut ranges that most people are going to do, you can cut, if you want to cut above 3/4 of an inch, you can do that with an 8 blade and it'll be just fine. You want to cut below 1/2 inch, you can do that with an 8 blade. It's going to be just fine. I'll tell you though that I've had an 8 blade on my Greensmaster, and I also have an 11 blade on it now because I damaged that reel because I tried to, whatever. It's just a long story. I have an 11 blade on it now, and the quality of cut between the 8 blade and the 11 blade is noticeably better. So the 8 blade cuts better than the 8 blade does. But here's the thing. The height of cut range, the range where you need to keep that 11 blade is really between 1/4 inch on the low end up to 3/4 inch on the high end. So you see what I mean? So if you go up on the blade count, you really are starting to shift the height of cut where you want to maintain the lawn to shorter heights. So 8 blade is really a great all around one. Like and honestly, to be fair, if you had never seen my lawn cut with an 8 blade, you would not look at it and say, oh, the 11 blade is that much better. So in other words, it's not like if you have to have seen how it looked before to be able to see that the 11 blade is better. But I can tell you that it is better. Like the 11 blade at 3/4 of an inch is a thing of beauty. It's lovely how it cuts the lawn. But if you let the lawn get tall, it's going to be a nightmare. It's going to bog down. It's just not going to work well. It's not designed for higher cutting heights. So it's really your call which way you want to go. You know how much time you have and how consistent you can be with your mowing. From an appearance standpoint, the 9 blade is going to do better than the 6 blade. But you got to be on the ball. You can't let like 2 weeks go by and not cut your grass. So, and for scalping, the 6 blade is going to be better than the 9 blade. there's also that too. So your option is like use like another mower, get like a rotary mower to do your scalping, and don't scalp with your real mower. So that's something else you can consider as well too. So hope that helps, Justin. If you need anything else, definitely let me know. All right, so we have a question here from Instagram, from Rinzer. It says, not a question about lawns, but more about you. What got you into lawn care and maintenance? I just grew up to be my dad. I grew up to, so I've always liked nice lawns, right? I've always liked the appearance of like really like a golf course, like a lawn looks like a golf course. 'Cause in the 2000s, like between like 2000 to 2007, I played a lot of golf. Like I used to play golf 2-3 times a week. And I just always love golf courses. I love the way that they look. I love the appearance of the turf. And I always said, man, it'd be really cool to have a lawn that looks just like this. And then when moved into this place 9 years ago at this point, I thought, man, this is a really good canvas to really to have an awesome looking lawn. So I just started out doing it with just cutting the lawn with a push wheel mower, and then really started getting into it, and then one thing led to the next, and then now like I've got like an outlet commercial mowers. It's just one thing over time. And because I enjoy just the process of it and learning about it. It's just progressed into what it is now. And then I have friends that work professionally in the industry that I've been able to bounce a lot of ideas off of and get, as far as like programs that work well and that type of thing. So it's just like anything else in life, right? Like if you're into whatever you're into, you got into it because first you had an interest, and then how deep you get into it just depends on like how much you really enjoy it and how much time you put into it, and that dictates how good you get at it, right? So yeah, that's the story in a nutshell. That's the Cliff Notes version of it. So cool, good question. All right, next up is Anna Duran. She says, I'm a super beginner on taking care of my lawn. I've always just watered and cut. Now I hate the weeds. Don't we all? That's what I want to try. I want to overseed. At what temps is best here in Wyoming to do that? So here's the thing. For the grass seed that you are going to get, Anna, whatever grass seed you decide to go with, they will have guidance on what soil temperatures should be at for seeding. In most cases, it tends to be like the mid 60s, going cool for warm season grass anyway. For Bermuda, it's like mid 60s. For cool season grass, it's maybe a bit different. So I would look at whatever grass seed type you decide you're going to go with. The label will have guidance on that, and you use the soil temperature to drive when you do that. I can tell you that most people that do fall overseeding that have cool season lawns tend to do it around this time of year. So late August, early September is when, if you look at YouTube, you're going to see a ton of overseeding content from the cool season folks. So it's going to start ramping up now. So if you're just going from just a pure time, like time of year, around now, late August, early September is when most people overseed their cool season lawns. But if you want to be very precise about it, whatever grass seed you're going to go with, call the manufacturer. On the bag, it will give guidance saying, so you use this amount, this many pounds of seed per 1,000 square feet when soil temps are in this range. Make sure you water this much. It'll give you guidance as far as how to get a good result when using it. But you're in the window. Late August, early September is when overseeding is typically done on cool season lawns in the United States anyway. Okay, next up is Jason. Man, I am going to butcher this, Jason. I'm going to try my best. Jason Rapisarda, like rapid. Rapisarda, yeah. Jason Rapisarda. He says, I live on Long Island, climate zone 3C. I have 6-week-old bluegrass sod lawn. How long until I can stripe my height of cut? Currently at 4 inches and do a sand level. So if it's 6 weeks old, it's already at 4 inches. Wow, that's good. It grew in fast, Jason. What I would say is just work it down over time. Like I wouldn't scalp the lawn. I would not do that. Like if Devin's on here again, he's a cool season guy and he's very much opposed to scalping cool season turf. But you can certainly cut bluegrass shorter than 4 inches. So just slowly work your way down. I would say, every other mow, take it down maybe 1/4 of an inch until you get, granted, take a few weeks to do this, but take it down 1/4 of an inch each time. That's not going to stress the lawn a lot. And as you get shorter, if you have some kind of a weight on the back of the mower, like a roller, or if you're not using a real mower at 4 inches, but if you have some kind of some way to lay the grass down, you will start to get stripes as you continue cutting the grass. Even at 4 inches, you should get stripes if you have a roller. Like fescue will stripe if you have like some kind of a heavy roller on the back of your mower. So it's not like you have to go short to get stripes out of a bluegrass lawn. It's more a function of being able to consistently lay the grass in a direction. That's what produces the visual appearance of stripes. And if you have a rotary mower, which I imagine you do because you're cutting it at 4 inches, people will you can buy stripe kits, but then some folks will go just go the cheap route and they'll take a piece of PVC pipe and they'll fill it with sand or cement or something to give it some weight. And they will figure out a way to attach that to the back of the mower so that whenever they're mowing, that drags 6-8 inches behind the mower and it like folds or lays the grass down, and that will produce stripes. So you don't have to mow your grass short to get it to stripe. It's just you need some kind of a weighted system to kind of roll the grass or lay it consistently in one direction to produce the stripes. So hope that helps, sir. As far as doing a sand level, yeah, if you're gonna sand level the lawn, getting it shorter is gonna be a good idea. But here's the thing, Jason, you have to like pick your poison here. So if you're gonna sand level it, are you going to go to real mowing? Is your plan to start cutting the lawn at shorter heights? If that's your thing, then yeah, you can step it down to whatever your grass will tolerate, 1.5 inches, do your leveling work, and then you can continue, depending on how smooth your lawn is, you should be able to continue mowing it with a rotary mower at 1.5 inches, and that should look pretty good, 1.5 inches to 2 inches. But yeah, I would get it shorter if you're going to do leveling work with because 4 inches of a 4-inch lawn is going to be a pain to move sand around in. So I would get it shorter if that's what you're planning to do. And we are entering the time of year for cool season grass to do that kind of work. All right, so next up is Mike Harvey. He says, hey, Ron, I'm going the spectacle flow route for POA this year. I'm in upstate South Carolina. When should I do my first application and at what rate? I get POA early usually. I want to do it right because of the money. So yeah, if you want to be on the safe side, Mike, you can start Labor Day weekend. So a couple of weeks from now, you can do your spectacle app. The application rate range is, if you have one of these bottles, it'd be useful. But if you don't have one, it's kind of harder to measure out. But so you can start with a rate. You can use a rate of between 0.1 to just under 0.2 ounces, not 0.2, but just under 0.2 ounces per 1,000 square feet. Closer to like 0.18 is the higher end of the application rate. If you do that, you're only going to want to do that once per season. You'll do that in September, and then you'll really be good. You're not going to have to worry about really POA in your lawn until you have to worry about pre-emergent until like next spring, like late February, thereabouts, right? Or if you want to do split apps, you can go out at a lower rate, so just below 0.10. You could do one again Labor Day weekend and do it again in late November, early December. I've always done just a single application at the higher end of the application rate, and I've had great results with that. This year, just to play with it, I'm going to do 2 apps. I'll do one now and then do another one in late November at two lower rates, just to do something different, just to try it. So yeah, and as far as you want to apply, I would get it down a bit earlier. So a couple of weeks from now, you can absolutely get it applied. If you have any POA that's around, you can use Certainty to get rid of it. You really shouldn't have very much if you're using Spectacle, if any. And if you do have some, let's say it's already started germinating now, Certainty will make quick work of it. So because it's going to be young, you'll be able to knock it out pretty quickly. So I hope that helps, sir. It's a great product. You will like the results you get with it from a standpoint of keeping POA and other weeds out of your lawn. It doesn't really get much better than Spectacle for warm season grass. He says, plus, will I need to use other pre-emergents with Spectacle at some point, like prodiamine or dithiopyr? Nope, no need to. So Spectacle stands by itself in the fall. I would save prodiamine or dithiopyr for springtime. So you can save either one of those for your spring pre-emergent. Again, February-ish time frame if you want to be a bit ahead of the curve, and use Spectacle in the fall. No need to mix anything else with it. James Rapisarda says, how long do you have to wait to aerate a new bluegrass sod installed 6 weekends ago? I wouldn't do that. That's something I would not do as yet, Jason, because it's still like sand. I feel I'd be less concerned about that, but like, but with it being brand new sod, it's hard to know how well it's rooted in. If you were to go out and put like an aerator on it at this point, you risk the chance of pulling it up. So I don't know that I would risk it with it only being 6 weeks old. So yeah, sand leveling, I'm not opposed to that. I wish Devin were here to get his thoughts on the matter. I'm not sure if he's still around, but he would be able to tell you what he thinks about aerating a 6-week-old sodded lawn. I would err on the side of caution and say no. It might be okay, but I wouldn't want to risk it. The unknown Mister says, what do you do with all the cores taken out? In my case, on my lawn, I do nothing. I let them just sit on the lawn and they just break down. I don't pick them up. Some people do pick up cores. They are religious about the cores that are taken out. If you have a clay soil, so if some of that red Georgia clay that gets hard and kind of turns into small little bricks when it dries out, if you have soil like that, it is a good idea to get the cores off the lawn. But if you have more of a soil that's a bit more sandy, as mine has become over the many years of top dressing it, then you don't have to. And literally to answer your question, Mr. Unknown, if you look up my video on core aeration, actually don't forget the video. I've got this because this blog covers that topic and it will also have that video embedded in it. So if you go to the Golf Course Lawn Store, go to resources, then go to blog, and I believe it is on page 2. Pretty sure it is. All right. So on page 2, you will see this blog post on how to core aerate your lawn. And talks about what it is, what tools you'll need, when to do it. And this video answers that very question as far as whether to core aerate your lawn or not, to pick up cores or not to pick up cores. That often is the question. I answer that in the video. The long and short of it is that, again, if you have clay soil, then you can pick up the cores. If you don't have clay soil, then I'm a fan of just leaving them on the lawn, just letting them break down. That's me. I mean, some people, it just depends on your particular soil type as whether or not you pick up cores or not. If you want to read that blog post, this is it here, the unknown Mister. There is the link to it. And hope that helps. You should be all set, all good to go. All right. Good stuff. All right, next we have TR Play 1. He says, how do I remove centipede and carpet grass in Bermuda Tiff Tough this time of year? I don't know about carpet grass, but for centipede grass, you can use quinclorac. So quinclorac is a selective herbicide that Bermuda tolerates very well, but centipede and St. Augustine grass do not. It may also target carpet grass too. I don't know. Let me look here really quick. Why not? We can look real quick and see if quinclorac is labeled to control carpet grass. I think it might be. Let's see, carpet. Nope, I don't see carpet grass on there. But it will injure or kill centipede. So you could use quinclorac for that. Let me give you a link for that one. TR Play. Yeah. So this is what I would use for that. Again, Bermuda tolerates this herbicide really well, and centipede and St. Augustine grass, not so much. So at TR Play 1 and that. And I think as well, hang on a second. I believe I have some guidance on carpet grass. Yeah. So for warm season lawns, I think. Well, maybe I'm wrong here. I think it looks like Celsius or Certainty might kill carpet grass. I'm gonna have to look at the label for those and see. So for the centipede, quinclorac. For the carpet grass, now you got me wondering here. Let me see. I want to know the answer as much as you do now. I want to know as much as you. And it looks like Celsius is labeled to control carpet grass, carpet weed. Yep. So Celsius at the higher rate will control carpet grass, and quinclorac will control centipede grass. So you could use a blend of Celsius and quinclorac, and that would take care of both of those. And Bermuda tolerates both of those really well. So, like Celsius, great on Bermuda, and then quinclorac also is tolerated by Bermuda just fine. The thing I would say is if you're going to use quinclorac, if you can wait for temperatures to be in the mid 80s, that would be better. Like you have less chance of discoloration if you do that. But between those two herbicides, that's a good way to selectively remove centipede and carpet grass from your Bermuda lawn. Make sure you use surfactant along with that blend if you decide to go forward with it. And so you've already got the link for quinclorac. I will get you the link for Celsius, and then you will be all squared away, sir. You'll be ready to go off and conquer. And again, for Celsius, I'm looking at the label here. It shows it at the higher end of the rate. So if say you only had like 2,000 square feet of carpet grass, you would use one of these with 2 gallons of water. That's going to be the higher end of the application rate, which should work well against it. And again, use some surfactant along with it for best results. All right, so there's Celsius, and you already got quinclorac, and here is marker dye, and you'll be good to go. You got everything. Go forth and conquer. Enjoy. Have fun. All right, next up is Grasshopper Lawn Care from Georgia. Says, happy Friday, Ron. What's going on, Grasshopper Lawn Care? Thank you for hanging out. You are very, very welcome, Anna. Thank you for asking the question. And then next is Nyan. He says, hey, Ron, do you think it's time to put down Spectacle Flow, and how much do I put in a 4-gallon sprayer? Yeah, we're entering that time, Nyan. You could do it now if you wanted to. I mean, you could also wait a couple more weeks as well if you wanted. There's no negative to doing that. The way I apply spectacles, I have one of these old bottles. It's either an old Acelyprint or an old Primo bottle. I think it's an old Acelyprint bottle is what I use. And what I do is I've got it filled with Acelyprint. Let me go to here. And the application rate, if it's the first time you're doing it, here's what I would say, Nyan, because that way you're not gonna overdo it. Is just use the rate of 0.1 per 1,000 square feet. So if you're going to be doing 4,000 square feet of lawn, you could do 0.4 with 4 gallons of water and spray that over 4,000 square feet. That's a nice safe rate. That's on the lower end, and you'll still get good control of POA if you were to go with that rate. I'm going to be doing my Spectacle app a couple of weekends from now, so Labor Day weekend, so September 2nd or 3rd, whatever that happens to be. One of those days is when I'll be doing mine. And yeah, so 0.10 with a gallon of water, 0.1 ounces, 0.1 fluid ounces over 1,000 square feet is the correct answer. So 0.4 with 4 gallons of water over 4,000 square feet is what you could go with. So, and if you do that, make sure you use a spray tip that looks like this, a flood jet tip for best results. Produce that larger droplet to help it get into the soil. So you'll be all set, sir, to slay some POA, or prevent POA. There won't be any slaying because the POA won't be in your lawn, right? There's that. Shelby Amos, Ron, Dallas-Fort Worth was 110 degrees today. That's horrible. Water bill is $535, and I still have some dry spots. Emotional grass roller coaster, I tell you, foreplay, wetting agents, Hydrotan, I've used them all. Yeah, you just can't beat water though, right? The moisture managers do help. They do help you get more out of the water that you're putting down on the lawn. But 110 degree heat is rough, man. That is tough. You know, you almost have to get some water on the lawn, like a little bit of water, just to. I mean, I don't know how many days a week you're doing it, but like 1 day a week is not going to cut it for those temps. And to your point, man, I mean, $535 water bill is not cheap. So I guess how important to you is it that the lawn stay completely green at all costs? You know, if you're willing to spend $600 or $700, you could probably put more water on it and it would look better. But you know, is the juice really worth the squeeze? That's a question you have to ask yourself at this point. So yeah, but the good news, Shelby, is that you shouldn't be dealing with, you know, triple digit temps for too much longer. You know, I imagine mid-September, like the temps should start falling to where the lawn's not getting baked quite so hard, and then, you know, you'll be good to go. All right, 2 Trilla is up next. He says, if you're willing to sacrifice a small portion of your lawn to POA, I feel it would be very helpful. I had POA really bad last season, and although certainty injured it, I still had it come right back. Granted, when my POA was on the mature side, a video would have given me more confidence knowing I'm using the right rates. Yeah. So when it comes to using POA, to using certainty for POA, so whereas I was telling you guys for sedges, you can get by with the lower rates, so like 0.75 ounces per acre. So really that would equate to like three to five of the small scoops. That will work well for sedges. For POA, the rate is 1.25 ounces to up to 2 ounces per acre. So if you're spraying a 1 acre property and it had a lot of POA in it, like an entire bottle of certainty is what you would use on the low end to control POA. So what you can get by with is one of the large scoops followed by 2 small scoops produces good results against POA using certainty. That's what I use on a couple of spots in Alex's vanity strip where water, anytime it rains really heavy, water kind of settles there. So some POA grew in there. And that rate, so again, 1 large scoop with 2 of the small with a couple gallons of water and surfactant produced a really good result against POA. But you're right, if you use the sedge rate for POA, it's not going to work well. I mean, you might turn a little bit, you might get to color a little bit, but it's it's going to come right back. You have to really take the rate up quite a bit to control POA with certainty. And as it gets more and more mature, to your point, the harder it is to control. But that's true for all weeds. Like crabgrass, conchloric is great against crabgrass, especially when it's young. If you're trying to use conchloric even now this time of year to control crabgrass, that's been like allowed to just run rampant, it's going to be really hard to control compared to if you had done it in like June or May, So when it comes to pretty much all weeds, when they are younger, they're easier to get rid of. So prevent it with pre-emergent Tutrilla is what I would say. And as soon as you see it, go after it with certainty at the rates that are correct for POA. There's a section on the label that specifically speaks to POA annua, and the rates are quite a bit higher than the rates you would use for sedges. So as long as you do that, you'll get a good result. Okay, McNasty Motorsports is up next. He says, I considered training my two girls, 2 German Shepherds, to go to a specific spot, but the back lawn is their domain. Pea stains and playtime damage disappears super fast via Bermuda's autocorrect feature. There is that. So what you're saying is that the 2 ladies run the house. I got it. I get it. I hear you, man. I got it. It's too much, if you try and change things around now, they're going to look at you like, hey, man, life's been good. Why are you trying to change the program? So I get it. I understand. I understand where you're coming from. Next up, we have KBO315. He says, I had to do fresh juice lemonade at my high school job. Really is the best tasting. Sucks to do the work. Yeah, I can imagine like having to squeeze lemons. They probably have a tool or a machine to do it, but still, he says that it takes a lot of lemons to make the big like square container they pour into the dispenser, like the thing they use for the Chick-fil-A lemonade. It takes a lot of lemons. They go through a lot of lemons to make their lemonade, but it tastes really good. So it's worth it. It is worth it. Don't ever change it, Chick-fil-A. Don't you guys ever go to any kind of powdered lemonade. Make sure you stay true to your roots. Stay true to your lemonade roots. NMS Auditor 1 is up next. He says, Happy Friday, Ron. Ordering my fall soil test kit tonight. I sent you a picture with the subject line irrigation. 2-inch Honda pump. Throws about 150 foot in diameter. Rain, no rain. I am good. Awesome, man. So what are you using to feed that, NMS? Do you have like a well, or what's that hooked up to? That, oh man, wow. Oh, I see. I see exactly where it hooked up, where it gets water from. So you want to see irrigation NMS Auditor style? Check this out. Goodness gracious, man. I mean, there's irrigation, and then there is irrigation. It just really shows, guys, in life, no matter how good you're doing, there's always someone doing better than you. You think you got irrigation figured out? He's like, man, hang on, hold my sprinkler. And you can see his source of water, so he is good to go. He has no problems with coverage and no problems with water to water his lawn. So yeah, man, that's pretty awesome. 150 foot throw, huh? That will get it done. That will absolutely get it done. Very cool. Thanks for sharing the picture. It's really nice. And Mark Romano, the first cut is the deepest. Mark, you are a party in your own head. I can tell. That's you. You are capable of just having fun all by yourself. All right, Harper's Knitter's up next. He says, it's been a great summer of Fridays with you. Next season will be even better. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Thanks for all the love and support, Harper's Knitter. Thank you for watching the content. It really does mean a lot. I mean, I'm not here talking all to myself, which is good. Next, we got Falcon Pilot. He says, "Hey Ron, I got my soil test on Monday. Sent it back the same day. Can't wait to see the results. Super fast so far. Yes, if you send them back the same day, what you normally will find is within 7 days you'll get an email saying, 'Hey, Falcon Pilot, here are your soil test results.'" And in the lower left-hand corner of the soil test results, will say, "Here are some products you can use to help fix the stuff that is going on in your soil." But if you want a second opinion, you want to bounce some ideas, you can always feel free to email me and I will look at them and give you my thoughts on the matter. All right, next up is Nintendo Dad, maybe. He says, "I just moved into my new house. Congratulations on that. Backyard is about 50% Bermuda. Been applying 1 pound of N per week for the last month. Think it'll be okay." That's a bit too much. That's a lot too much actually. I would back that down, Nintendo. So what Bermuda calls for is about 1 pound of nitrogen per month whenever it's actively growing. So 5-ish pounds per year over the course of the growing season is what Bermuda needs to look good. So if you're doing 1 pound of N per week, that's overdoing it. You're going to start causing thatch problems in your lawn, and along with a host of other problems. So I would really back that down. I'll tell you, on my lawn, which you can see if you've not seen it, I mean, this is my lawn, and as of a couple of days ago, that gets around 0.7 pounds of nitrogen per month. And that's not even at one time. That's spread out over, it gets about 1/2 pound of nitrogen at the beginning of the month. Actually, not true. It gets 1/2 pound at the beginning of the month, and then from granular, and then another 1/10 from liquids. And in the middle of the month, I do another 1/10. So yeah, 1 pound per week is too much. I would back that down. That's far too much for Bermuda. It's like 4 times what you should be doing on your lawn. So if you want some tips on fertilization, I've got a blog post on that very topic that speaks all about fertilization, talks all about spoon feeding. I will send a couple of blogs to you for someone that's new. So let's see, at Nintendad. This is on the topic of spoon feeding. And then there is another one that is all about fertilizer, all about fertilizing your lawn. And it's this guy right here, How to Choose Your Fertilizer, Top Tips. It's a little bit longer one, but it's also a great read. So between those two, you'll learn a lot about fertilizer, different ways of using it, how to choose the right one, application rates, that type of thing. 1 pound of N per week on Bermuda is too much. I would not do that anymore. I would refrain from doing that. All right, Munir Mahid is up next. He says, what pre-emergence you would specifically recommend for rampant Dallas grass problem here in Houston? I've used Anderson's in the past with not great results. Spectacle also doesn't list Dallas grass on it. Your best bet, Munir, to get rid of Dallas grass is to dig it out, to physically remove it. There aren't a lot of great ways to prevent it. Once it's already in your soil, you want to just get rid of it. Like there's post-emergent herbicides, like there's plenty that have like suppress Dallas grass on the label, like even like Certainty. Like you look at the label, it says this will suppress Dallas grass, but you'll be using it at really high rates and it's not going to kill it. So what I would say is if you've got Dallas grass in your lawn, a hand weeding tool is going to be your best bet. Like just to get out there, a couple nights a week for an hour at a time, and you'll be surprised how quickly you can remove a lot of it if you just get out there and just consistently work on it. That's going to be your best bet to get rid of it over time. It's not going to be a month-long thing. It may even take a couple of seasons to get it fully gone, but that's how you're going to want to go about it. There's not a way to really easily control it once it's in your lawn. Your best bet is to remove it, to physically remove it. So, sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but that's gonna be my advice on far as Dallas grass and just how to take care of it. I mean, Dallas grass is so bad that again, I have 2 friends that have spray businesses. One of them will not take a lawn that has Dallas grass in it because like the customers never understand that they're not going to pay me to dig this stuff out. I don't have the time to dig this stuff out, and if I tell them, they're not going to do it, and it ends up just me getting a bunch of callbacks because all the other weeds are dead, but the Dallas grass is still there. So he won't even take on new customers that have Dallas grass. So that's how much of a pain it is. So just to save you a lot of headache, just bite the bullet, get a good weeding tool. I'll show you the one that I'd recommend, and just carve out some time to regularly go out and work on it. Work on removing the Dallas grass from your lawn. The one that I like to use is it's an orange like tool from Fiskars. It's hand weeding tool. It's like $9. It'll set you back a whole $9. I really like mine. I like it so much I have 2 of them. I have one. I keep one on each mower, and it's a great product for keeping, for pulling weeds out of your lawn. So at Munir, this guy, that's what you want for doing it. Hope that helps. Sorry I don't have a better answer for you, but I don't want you to, go out there and spend a bunch of money and time trying to buy herbicides to try and get rid of it, because most herbicides you'll see that are labeled for use on residential lawns, they will list Dallas grass, but then it'll be like an asterisk, and then you go down to where the asterisk was, the footnote, it'll be like suppression only. So it's not going to kill it. So just save yourself a lot of time and headache and just get rid of it. Just dig it out. All right. Stefan 707 says LMAO. In Wisco, I water daily when we hit the high 80s. It's a strategy. If the lawn looks good and it's tolerating it, go for it. Do whatever you need to do to keep it looking good, right? Next up is Cooper's dad. He said, because the sod was new, I waited until December last year to apply Spectacle. Some small PO was already showing. Reach back of Spectacle killed it. Stuff's incredible. Not one PO this spring. Usually all over. I'm telling you, it's not cheap, but it by far this is the best stuff for controlling POA in a warm season lawn. Like I said, just buy a bottle and split it with your buddies, and that way you guys will all have POA free lawns. Like I tell you, like I didn't have a single, not one, no POA at all in my entire back lawn. And I'm trying to think, the only POA that I really saw was just in Alex's, in a one area where just water always pools on his vanity strip whenever it rains there. So, and Certainty made pretty quick work of that. All right, 9 says, can you share a link for the pre-emergent tip you just showed? Yes, I can. It's the white, it's a white flood jet tip, and I will get you the link for that, 9. It's super cheap. I think it's like under $10. Let's see, white flood jet tip. Yep. It is this guy right here. Yeah, it's a whole $6.15. Totally breaking the bank on this one, but it's worth getting. And a question I have gotten, guys, as well, and none of you guys have asked us tonight, is if you have one of those sprayers that have for example, the Yard Mastery sprayer that have 2 settings, like a high pressure or low pressure, what pressure setting should you use for pre-emergent or for herbicides or for like carbon kit or for fertilizer or for primo? All of those I use the low pressure setting. All of them are low. All of them are on the low setting is what I use for spraying those. So you guys didn't ask that, but no one here asked that tonight, but I've gotten the question, and there'll be a YouTube short on it here soon that answers that very question. Like, what pressure should you do I use on a sprayer for spraying products? All right, next up is next up is Stefan 707. He says, how many times per year do you do a soil test? Typically twice per year, once in the spring, once in the fall. Reason for that is I use a spring soil test to determine my nutrient program for the year, and I use the fall soil test to measure the effectiveness of my nutrient program throughout, like over the spring and summer, and then also to see if I'm going to need to do a lime application in the fall. So for that reason, I like to do it twice a year, spring and fall. It's like the best $30 that you'll spend on your lawn, because it literally gives the answers to the test of what you should be doing from a standpoint of inputs into your soil. And think about it, like great soil produces great grass. Like great grass is a byproduct of great soil. All right. Can you use Spectacle on a cool season lawn? No, it's for warm season turf grass only, Stefan. You don't want to use it on warm season lawn. Bad things will happen. James Smith says, great stream tonight. Time to put a fork in it for me. 10:30 after a long day. Yeah, man, we're about to wrap it up. I think we're not going to make it quite to 4 hours tonight, which is, it's good. Shorter nights every now and then are not a bad thing. And then our final comment or question of the evening is from Jimmy Miller. He says, Ron, my wife thinks I'm nuts. I'm currently in St. Martin. You're on the French side. On vacation, and I couldn't miss the stream. I miss my lawn. Can't wait to get home to see how the top dress level has filled in. Have a great night. That's really cool, Jimmy. So St. Martin, believe it or not, where I grew up, the island I grew up on, St. Eustatius, I could walk out on the back porch and see St. Bart's to the right and see St. Martin like at 12 o'clock. And yeah, so if you say it's St. Martin like that, that is the French side spelling. And if you say St. Martin or Martin, which is Maarten, the Dutch side, that's the Dutch spelling. So Martin, long, is for the Dutch, and then Martine, like they say, is the French side. So I'm not sure which one you're on, but enjoy your time there. You know, I appreciate you coming to hang out and watch the live stream, and make sure you have some fun while you're there, man. You know, go hang out on Front Street on the Dutch side in Phillipsburg, eat some good food, and enjoy your time on the island. Well, guys, gals, that's it for this evening. Hope you guys had a good time, enjoyed the show. You know, get ready for pre-emergent. It's the time of year where you need to start thinking about it. We've got a full selection of pre-emergents on the Golf Course Lawn Store. Remember, when it comes to pre-emergent, a little bit early is better than a little bit late. It's much cheaper to keep weeds out of your lawn in the first place than have to take care of them after the fact. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys next week. Have an amazing weekend. Take care.